The engine of the starship Celestial roared and tore through the void, and the dusty and barren surface of Planet 47 slowly expanded outside the porthole like a rotting corpse. Tang Yue stood on the bridge, holding the edge of the console tightly with both hands, his knuckles turning white from the exertion. Outside, space is as lonely as an endless tomb, with only sporadic meteorite fragments flashing red on the radar, a reminder of the danger of this planet. Federal Archives record that it has swallowed 3 exploration teams. The underground energy field distorts instruments, and even quantum communications are intermittent. Doctor, the radiation index in this damn place exceeds the standard by 30%, and the landing window is only 5 minutes. The adjutant's voice burst out from the communicator, mixed with the harsh noise of metal friction. If it's too late, a geomagnetic storm will come. Tang Yue glanced at the holographic projection. The surface of E47 was covered with cracks, as if it had been torn apart by the claw marks of a giant beast. Storm clouds were rolling in the red atmosphere. She took a deep breath. The air was filled with the smell of ozone from the ship's circulation system. Hang on, Captain Lin. Mu Xue. Check the formula injector. Mu Xue responded from the engineering cabin, her voice as steady as a rock but with a faint hint of exhaustion. It has been calibrated and the energy core is stable. But doctor, this formula. Why is the Federation so eager to push it forward? It is too risky to launch a full-scale test on a small scale. On the bridge, the crew members whispered, some wiped the cold sweat from their foreheads, and looked at Tang Yue, the woman known as the Formula Witch, who was only 28 years old, but had already reversed the collapse of the magnetic fields of 2 planets. But now, E47 is unusual. There is suspected to be an unknown pulse underground. The order from Lu Ting, a senior federal official, is like a whip. Speed up the transformation and ignore safety risks. The resources of the Federation's home planet are exhausted, and we have no choice. Tang Yue whispered, eyes fixed on the radar. Suddenly the ship shook violently. A giant meteorite fragment grazed the shield. Fire exploded outside the porthole, and the shock wave caused the holographic screen to flicker. Damn it! Shield loss is 15%. Captain Lin Fan yelled. His burly figure bounced up on the command chair, his hands flying to control. Doctor, abandon the ship and jump? No. Tang Yue gritted his teeth. Forced landing. E47 is our salvation. The crew gasped and some murmured, crazy, she's really crazy. But no one dared to refute. Lin Fan's eyes narrowed, admiration flashed through him. Full power engine. Hard landing. Tianqiong fell into the atmosphere like a meteorite. The friction heat wave made the fuselage red hot, and the roar was deafening. Tang Yue felt his stomach churning and smelled the pungent smell of burnt metal. Finally, with a loud noise, the ship crashed into a flat rift valley, raising 100 meters of dust and mist. The hatch opened with a hiss, and hot sand and dust rushed in. The team filed out, with Mu Xue carrying the injector prototype and a dust mask on her face. Doctor, the base module is being deployed. Radiation warning, stay alert. Lu Ting's projection emerged from the communication terminal. The senior official's face was ashen. The background was the gorgeous hall of the federal headquarters. Dr. Tang, congratulations on landing. But don't waste time. The energy crisis of the home planet is imminent. Complete the first test to generate artificial clouds within 24 hours. Failure? All your qualifications will be revoked. The projection cuts off, leaving dead silence. Mu Xue took off her mask and spit out gravel. That old fox, he kept the source of the formula secret. How much does he know about the E47 underground energy field? Tang Yue didn't reply but glanced across the wasteland. The red rocks were stained with blood. Smoke was faintly rising from the volcano crater in the distance, and the wind howled like a ghost crying. The team engineers were busy building the base. The force field barrier buzzed up, and blue light cut through the darkness in the dust and fog. Their movements were hesitant and someone whispered, I heard that during the last transformation, the formula backfired and swallowed up the entire city. Doctor, can you? Shut up. Mu Xue glared at him. The doctor reversed the nuclear meltdown crisis on Iron River Planet. What do you know? A few hours later, the base took shape. A gleaming metal dome with a tower-like injector in the center, 10 meters in diameter, and a core crystal pulsing with blue light. Tang Yue stood in the control room, typing on the holographic keyboard, and formula data poured out like a river of stars. This was her masterpiece, a high-energy physics formula that injected the energy of a miniature black hole and reshaped the molecular chain of the atmosphere. Moments before the test, Lu Ting called again. Accelerate. Full power injection. Senior officials start with a small scale. Tang Yue said calmly. Nonsense. Federal order. Lu Ting roared and the projection shook. The team is in trouble. A young engineer turned pale and said in a trembling voice. Doctor, he wants us to die. The formula fluctuation simulation shows that the E47 energy field will amplify the error. A sarcastic voice sounded. Genius? Ha, the senior officials of the home planet say you are just a lucky one. With the order of senior official Lu, we are all finished. Mu Xue clenched her fists and glared at them. You know nothing. The doctor's formula is accurate to 10 to the power of -12. Tang Yue turned around, his eyes like daggers. Activate. Small scale, inject 1% of the energy level. Fully monitor. The injector roared to life, and the blue light in the crystal surged, like a star core exploding. The energy beam shot into the sky, tearing apart the red clouds. The ground trembled slightly, dust rolled up, and rocks in the distance cracked. The team huddled in front of the observation window, breathing heavily. The fluctuations are rising, the monitor screamed. The energy feedback is 0.02% off. Damn it, backlash. The engineers' faces turned pale and some stepped back. Abort. Doctor, abort. Lu Ting's projection laughed. Look, you are panicking. Accelerate the injection to prove that the formula is foolproof. Despair filled the air. Mu Xue grabbed Tang Yue's arm. Doctor, stop. This planet is devouring energy. But Tang Yue remained motionless, his fingers flying to adjust the parameters. Her formulas are not rigid codes but living art. She anticipates deviations and injects pulses of fine-tuning. The energy beam suddenly became stable, and the blue light spread its wings like a giant eagle, breaking through the clouds. Boom! The sky exploded, artificial clouds poured down like the Milky Way, white water vapor condensed, and raindrops fell on the wasteland. The scorching air was instantly cooled. Outside the base, a green halo flickered at the bottom of the clouds, and the first ray of artificial oxygen filled the air. The team was stunned. The monitor's instrument beeped wildly. He rubbed his eyes and his voice trembled. Success! The cloud coverage rate is 20%, and the atmospheric oxygen content has increased by 5%. The deviation has returned to 0. Mu Xue's eyes widened. She let go of her hand and murmured, Dr. God, how did you do it? The backlash is obviously going to explode. The engineers burst into cheers, some knelt down, and some hugged their heads and cried, Impossible. There are obvious signs that the formula is out of control. She reversed it. Lin Fan came from the bridge, squeezed into the control room with his burly body, patted Tang Yue on the shoulder, and said in a hoarse voice with admiration, Doctor, you are a god. Just now I thought the fleet was going to be wiped out. His eyes turned red, and the usually iron-blooded captain actually trembled. That energy beam seemed alive. It swallowed the geomagnetic storm and fed back to the clouds. Even Lu Ting's projection froze, and the senior official's livid face was distorted, with a rare expression of shock. This efficiency exceeds expectations by 200%? Tang Yue. The cheers surged, the lights of the base shone, and the rain beat on the dome, creating a crisp rhythm. Tang Yue wiped the sweat from his forehead and smiled with fatigue. This is just the beginning. The formula is perfect, but... She glanced at the monitoring screen and saw a trace of fluctuation, the core of the formula. An anomaly as small as a needle tip. Underground in E47, the energy field responded, humming like a sleeping giant. Lu Ting's projection resumed and he forced a smile. Okay. Start full operation immediately. Full power. Reshape the entire planet. The Federation will remember your contribution. The team was still immersed in joy, but Mu Xue noticed something strange about Tang Yue and whispered, Doctor, that fluctuation. Speak down. Tang Yue said, looking towards the wasteland where night fell. The night was dark, and after the rain stopped, the surface of E47 was eerily silent. Only the lights of the base cut through the darkness, and the distant volcanic crater faintly pulsed with red light. On the top of Tang Yue's independent tower, the wind blew sand and gravel on the face, and the nose was filled with the smell of wet earth and sulfur. Suddenly my feet trembled. Not wind but deep vibrations coming from the core of the earth. The monitor beeped and the red light flashed. A sign of energy backlash, and the formula fluctuation was amplified by 0.1%. Mu Xue rushed up to the tower, her face turned pale. "Doctor, the underground energy field has been activated. It is sucking in the remnants of the formula like a living thing." Tang Yue squatted down and held down the instrument. Data came in like a flood. A chain reaction was beginning to appear. The volcanic pressure increased by 10%, and the atmospheric molecular chains were faintly distorted. In the distance, thin cracks opened on the horizon, and orange-red magma oozed faintly. Lin Fan's communication buzzed. "Doctor, the fleet radar caught an abnormal pulse. Is E-47 going to wake up?" Lu Ting's order came again. "Ignore Xiaozhen. Fully inject." But Tang Yue knew in his heart that this was not a small shock. The formula is on the verge of getting out of control, and has quietly opened its bloody mouth. She clenched her fists, and in the night wind, the wilderness roared like an animal's breath, foreshadowing the prelude to the end. Tang Yue's fingertips tapped on the holographic screen, and red alerts spread like bloodshot threads. She turned around, and the corrosive smell of night wind mixed with sulfur hit her nostrils. The blue force field barrier on the top of the tower buzzed, pulsating like a heartbeat. Mu Xue summoned the entire team. "Ignore Lu Ting's crazy orders. Let's first stabilize the first stage. The injection of high-energy particles into the crater. Lin Fan, the fleet will set up patrols and monitor underground pulses." Mu Xue nodded. A trace of hesitation flashed in her eyes under the mask. She pressed the communicator, and her voice trembled in the wind. "All engineers gather at the top of the tower." The doctor ordered that the crater operation be launched. As soon as she finished speaking, there was another slight tremor under her feet. The gravel on the ground rolled like a living thing, and the red light of the distant crater brightened, like a giant beast opening its eyes. The inside of the base boiled instantly. The engineers rushed out of the dome cabin. Someone stumbled and fell on the metal floor, making a clang collision sound, with sweat and dust on their faces. A senior technician wiped his forehead and murmured, "Doctor is crazy? The underground energy field is absorbing the remnants of the formula. Now go to the crater? The radiation from that place can melt through the armor." The young assistant next to him nodded, his voice trembling. "Senior Lu wants full power, don't we go and die?" Last time on Iron River Planet, the formula swallowed up 5,000 people. Mu Xue rushed down the tower ladder, her boots making a rapid dong-dong sound as she stepped on the metal steps. She grabbed the collar of the senior technician and widened her eyes. "Shut your stinky mouth. The doctor has reversed a small-scale backlash, but you losers can only shake your legs? Follow me, the crater is injected, and the formula simulates the gravity field to reshape the atmosphere. Whoever doesn't go back to the Sky Dome and become a deserter." The technicians gasped and turned pale. Some of them swallowed their saliva and murmured, "Engineer Mu." Her eyes are red as if she wants to eat people. But no one dared to retreat. They followed each other, carrying the particle injection gun and data probe. The air was filled with the burning smell of machine oil and high-energy batteries. The ridicule spread like a virus, and some people sneered, "Formula witch? Ha, her success in the trial is just luck. The energy field of E-47, a monster planet, is 10 times stronger than the Federal Archives. Who dares to bet?" Their eyes turned to Tang Yue at the top of the tower. Her tall figure stood like a solitary peak in the light. Her white robe was blown by the wind, but she did not move at all. Lin Fan's voice burst out from the communicator, rolling like thunder. "Doctor received." The Sky Dome took off, and the frigate formation opened the surrounding grid. The radar scanned the underground pulse, and the intensity increased by 15%. "Damn it, this planet is breathing." On the bridge, his burly body bent the command chair, and his hands gripped the control stick like iron pincers. The shield buzzed and repaired, and the blue light drew an arc in the night sky. The crew stared at the home screen. The surface of E-47 was churning like a black sea. Someone whispered. The captain believes her, but us? After a hard landing, the shield is only 85%. In case of a pulse explosion. Tang Yue jumped off the top of the tower, and the ground shook slightly when she landed. She ignored everyone's shocked looks and went straight to the control room. The holographic projection unfolds, and the formula data is like a galaxy vortex. The core parameter deviation is only 0.01%, but the energy output exceeds the standard by 20%. She took a deep breath. The smell of wet earth after the rain mixed with sulfur in the air was faintly pungent. This is not a coincidence. The underground field is resonating. His fingers flew, injecting fine-tuning codes, and the screen flashed green. The team arrived at the edge of the crater, the hovercar's engine roared, and red dust clouds rose up when braking. The crater is like a giant beast's blood basin, with cracks in the rock walls at the edges. Heat waves hit the face, the air twists into water ripples, and the nose is filled with the rusty smell of lava. Mu Xue jumped out of the car and picked up the particle injection gun, a 10-meter-long metal beast with a muzzle crystal pulsating with purple light.
Distributed formation.
Probes enter first, and the formula locks the gravity field simulation. The engineers unfolded tremblingly. Their shield backpacks buzzed and activated, and blue light bubbles wrapped their bodies. The energy field reading exceeds the standard. A technician screamed, the probe smoked sizzling, and data surged. The volcano's pressure has increased by 25%, and the surface of the magma is bubbling like a boiling sea of blood. Engineer Mu withdraw. This formula will be swallowed up. The taunting started again and someone stepped back. Senior official Lu is not here. Why are we working hard? They are geniuses who love to play, and we are used as cannon fodder. Mu Xue turned around, and the gun barrel hit the ground with a bang, causing gravel to fly. Her voice was like tearing metal. Get out. What do you know? The doctor's formula will make this Death Star come alive. She jumped onto the injection platform, pointed the muzzle of the gun at the volcanic abyss, and pressed the start button. Boom! The high-energy particle beam sprang out like a purple thunder dragon, tearing through the heat wave and drilling straight into the magma. The collision between metal and lava made a loud bang sound and fire flashed. The particles simulated the gravity field under the guidance of the formula, distorting the air molecular chain. At the base in the distance, Tang Yue stared at the monitoring screen. Data poured in. The particle injection was successful, the oxygen concentration increased by 8%, and the atmosphere began to spin. She tapped the keyboard and transmitted correction pulses. Hold on, Mu Xue. At the edge of the crater, a miracle begins to appear. Green light flashes on the surface of the magma, and particle beams swim like living snakes, forcibly suppressing the energy field. The heat wave suddenly subsided, cool oxygen filled the air, and in the cracks of the wilderness, tiny green shoots broke through the ground, the first ray of artificial vegetation, green like the fire of hope, swaying under the light. The engineers were stunned. The technician rubbed his eyes and his voice trembled. Oxygen. The oxygen has increased. The vegetation germination rate is 5%. This formula is reshaping the gravity field, and the underground pulse is suppressed by 10%. Another man knelt down, touching the soil with his hands, and the green buds were within reach. He choked with sobs. It's impossible. 47 has never been green. Engineer Mu, you are gods. Cheers broke out. Some hugged their companions and cried bitterly, and the metal shields collided with clang sounds. Mu Xue took off her mask, sweat and dust sliding down her face. She looked at the particle beam with wide eyes and murmured, "Doctor, this efficiency is 300% higher than expected. It is listening to your formula like surrendering." Her voice was trembling with admiration, and the usually iron lady's eyes turned red. Lin Fan's communication cut in, with the fleet engine roaring in the background. "Doctor, the patrol is perfect. The pulse is weakened and the surface is stable. The vegetation data is transmitted back, and my crew is dumbfounded. They say this is the first Death Star to be resurrected in the history of the Federation." His laughter was hoarse and his burly figure swayed on the screen. "You made me, an old guy, believe in your fate." In the base control room, the team poured in to celebrate. The fresh smell of oxygen replaces the sulfur, and the lights in the dome shine like a sea of stars. The engineers raised glasses of synthetic wine, and the wine spilled and made a crisp sound. Someone shouted, "Here's to the formula which I respect the engineers." The scoffers lowered their heads, blushing like boiled shrimps. "We were wrong. Doctor, how did you foresee the deviation?" "That 0.01%. The energy exceeded the standard, but did not explode." Tang Yue smiled but glanced at the remaining data on the screen. The deviation remained stable, but the underground feedback was faintly enlarging. She opened the communication, and Lu Ting's projection appeared. The senior official's face was ashen, and the gorgeous hall in the background was brightly lit. "Senior official, the first phase is brilliant. Oxygen rises by 8%, vegetation sprouts, and the gravity field simulation is stable. However, the deviation is 0.01%, and the energy exceeds the standard. It is recommended to postpone the second phase." Lu Ting sneered and the projection shook like anger. "Nonsense! Exceeding the standard is a good sign. Countdown to the energy collapse of the Federation's home star. The second phase is about to inject full power into the global grid. Your suggestion? Get out, or withdraw your qualifications if you fail." The projection was cut off, leaving dead silence. The team was still cheering, and Tang Yue frowned slightly. Suddenly, the private communication beeped the encrypted channel. Su Wan, intelligence officer. Her image appeared blurry with a dark data center in the background, and her voice was as low as a whisper. "Doctor, this is Su Wan. Hacking into Lu Ting's files, the formula design is flawed, derived from old black hole experiments, ignoring the resonant frequency of E47 planets. Data packet transmission hidden. Lu Ting hid it. The home star resources are a cover. He wants to steal credit. Be careful." The image flashed and the file was injected into the terminal like a ghost. Core formula, pinhead-sized loopholes, predicting chain reactions. Tang Yue's heart sank and she clenched her fists, her knuckles turning white. "Su Wan, thank you," she whispered, and the data scanned over. The resonant frequency perfectly matches the underground field, which will amplify the deviation into disaster. Mu Xue reported back from the crater with an excited voice. "Doctor, the injection is perfect. The vegetation spreads by 10%. Before he could finish his words, there was a loud noise in the communication. Lava erupts from the crater, like a blood dragon dancing wildly. Orange-red magma spurts hundreds of meters, and heat waves sweep across like a tsunami. The hover car rolled, the metal twisted and groaned, the particle gun exploded, and purple light flew everywhere." "Mu Xue." Tang Yue jumped up and rushed towards the hatch. The monitoring screen flashed red. A chain reaction was triggered. The volcanic pressure exploded by 80%. The global climate was about to collapse. The formula deviation was magnified to 5%, and the underground energy field fully awakened. At the edge of the crater, Mu Xue was blown away by the heat wave, her shield shattered, her left arm burned, and the smell of burnt flesh hit her nostrils. She rolled down the rock wall, gritted her teeth and climbed up. "Doctor, retreat. It's backlashing. Global pulse network. The planet is going to shatter." The engineers ran away screaming, and some people's shields melted through, and they fell into the cracks while screaming. Lava surged in like a tide. Cracks in the ground intensified. E47 roared like a doomsday beast waking up, and the night sky was dyed red by fire. Lin Fan's fleet dived. Laser beams cut into the lava, and engines roared to tear through the heat waves. "Doctor, get the coordinates and pull them on board." His voice trembled and fear flashed in the eyes of the iron-blooded captain for the first time. "This monster is alive." Tang Yue was on the top of the base tower. The wind blew molten ash like a knife cutting his face, and the blood on his nose was mixed with scorched earth. She stared at the data on the screen. Countdown to climate collapse, 3 hours. Su Wan's file flashes, and its flaws are like poisonous snakes spitting out letters. "It's not the end. It's the beginning," she murmured, slamming her fist on the console. "All team withdraw to the sky doom." "Mu Xue, hold on, I'll fix the formula." The wasteland boiled, the firelight illuminated her figure, like a lonely battle among the stars, and the prelude to doomsday played loudly. On the top of the base tower, Tang Yue's white robe was stained black by molten ash. She pressed the console with both hands, and the red light of the holographic screen boiled like a sea of blood. Deviation 5%, volcanic pressure 180%, global pulse awakening simultaneously. The Earth's crust cracked continuously, the tower base shook like a drunkard, the force field barrier was overloaded, and the blue light bubble distorted and deformed. Engineers rushed out of the control room. Some people stumbled and hit the metal wall. There was a loud clang and blood spurted from their noses. It's over. The formula backfired. The oxygen concentration dropped by 20%, and the vegetation withered. A technician screamed, staring out the window with wide eyes. The lava river had swallowed up the remains of the hover car, and the firelight reflected his face like a ghost. Doctor, your 0.01% deviation has turned into a monster. Senior Officer Lu is right, we are cannon fodder. Evacuate. E-47 will be shattered into space junk. Lava licked the night sky like the tongue of hell, pillars of orange-red fire soared hundreds of meters into the sky, gravel fell like raindrops, making crackling sounds, heat waves rolled up red dust storms, and the stench of sulfur and burnt meat penetrated the nose. The edge of the crater collapsed, and the rock wall broke with a bang. Mu Xue rolled down the slope, and fragments of the shield of her left arm were scattered. She gritted her teeth and held herself up. The bloody wound was smoking, and the pain was like fire. Doctor! The pulse network exploded in full force. Engineer! 10 people fell. Her voice was interrupted on the communicator, and in the background was the roar of the lava churning Gulu, and the screams of her companions. Tang Yue ignored the noise, and his fingertips were flying on the screen like lightning. Su Wan's data packet unfolded. Resonance frequency vulnerability, black hole experiment poison, and E-47's underground site was like a magnifying glass, burning the slightest difference into doom. It's not backlash. It's resonance. She growled, injecting the diagnostic code. The holographic star map rotated. The red line was like a blood vessel bursting, and the prediction curve went straight into the abyss. In 72 hours, the planet's core collapsed, and the climate reversed extreme. The volcano was followed by ice. Mu Xue, build the nearest escape capsule, and lock the coordinates of the sky dome. Lin Fan, swoop down the volcano support pillars, turn on the laser, collapse the structure and save people. Her order was like thunder splitting through the chaos, echoing in the communicator. In the crater, Mu Xue dragged her burned arms and jumped onto the broken escape cabin. The door hissed and hermetically sealed, and the internal lights flickered. She tore open the control panel, sparks exploded, her bloody fingers dug into the wiring, and the blue flame of the welding gun licked the metal, burning it with a sizzle. Hold on. The doctor's formula is correct. It's the resonant frequency. She murmured. A tsunami of lava surged outside the window, the cabin shook like a boat, and the heat wave evaporated and the glass fogged up. The surviving engineers climbed in, and the 3 people crowded into the cabin. One coughed and vomited black blood. Engineer Mu, your arm is rotten. Why don't you run? The planet is roaring, and the global pulse is causing the Earth's crust to break into a network. Mu Xue glared at him, her eyes bloodshot. Shut up. The doctor said that the support column collapsed. We live. Look, this cabin can fly. Her iron blood made them gasp, and awe flashed in their pale faces. She is like the shadow of the doctor, crazy but reliable. On the bridge of the sky dome, Lin Fan's burly body slammed the control stick, and the engine exploded with a boom. The starship dived into the atmosphere like a silver shark, and the blue light of the shield rubbed against the air to emit a low buzz. The damage caused by the hard landing made the fuselage tremble slightly. The volcano on the main screen looks like the bloody mouth of a giant beast, and the lava fountain is hundreds of meters high. Entire ship, laser cannons lock on the support columns. The doctor ordered, pull up the survivors. The crew's eyes widened, sweat dripping from their eyes. Captain, the heat wave will melt the shield. Last time on the Iron River Star, the fleet was completely wiped out. One person trembled. Lin Fan turned his head and slapped the table with his iron-pinned palm. Bang. Shut your bitch mouth. Both the soldiers turned the Death Star green. Now save people. They swallowed and the joysticks moved together. The laser beams slashed down like swords from the sky. Sizzling cut the rock pillars. The metal melted, hissing white smoke. The support structure collapsed, the edge of the crater collapsed, and the lava diverted a bloody path. Ridicule filled the air like a poisonous mist, and another person knelt down and held his head, his voice trembling like a candle in the wind. Engineer Mu died in the crater. Captain Lin's fleet shield could not withstand the heat wave. Formula witch. Ha! She ruined the Federation's first transformation plan. Can the mother planet the source of the crisis? We will all be buried together. Their eyes turned to Tang Yue, whose tall figure stood majestically in the storm on the top of the tower, but several people had turned and ran towards the escape cabin. Their boots made a dong-dong sound on the floor, and the air was filled with the pungent smell of sweat and molten ash. Inside the base, the lava river has flooded the base of the tower. The force field barrier has cracked. Hot juice is pouring down like rain, and the floor of the control room is twisted and deformed. The engineers screamed and evacuated. Doctor, let's go. The communication from senior official Lu is here. All evacuate. The projection appeared. Lu Ting's livid face was enlarged, and the lights of the Hua Palace on the home planet were in the background. Tang Yue. Dereliction of duty. The formula is out of control. E-47 is scrapped. The whole team abandons the ship immediately. Disobey the order. Evacuate, eliminate the qualifications, and ban the transformation project forever. His roar was like a whip, and the team stopped with despair on his face. The senior officer is right. We are finished. 72 hours of broken star. Who will save us? The taunting started again. Someone pointed at Tang Yue. The witch is harming us. Listen to the senior officer. Run. Tang Yue stood up. The wind was blowing with melting ashes like a knife, and the scorched earth and blood were intertwined at the end of her nose. She stared at the data on the screen with tears. 72-hour countdown. The climate reversed. After the fire came the ice. Outside, the sky suddenly darkened. Global pulses triggered extremes. Volcanic ash clouds condensed. Blizzards swept across the 47 like white blades. Hail pelted the towers. The temperature plummeted to -50 degrees. Snowflakes were mixed with sulfur and pungent. The wilderness instantly froze, and the green vegetation froze into ice spikes. Don't retreat. Her voice was like a frost blade cutting dead silence. Formula error confirmation. The resonant frequency resonance energy is out of control, and the core will explode in 72 hours. But I can fix it. Lin Fan, take the entire team to the temporary fortress, the Arctic Dome residual module, where the pulse is weak. The team was dumbfounded and the technician's eyes widened. Doctor, are you not afraid? Senior official Lu threatened to seize control of A-47, and we sold our lives to him. Tang Yue smashed his fist on the table. Pop! The data flashed green. Suwan's intelligence. He concealed defects and used the disaster to seize mineral rights. The energy source of the home star is fake, and the E-47 underground crystal is worth trillions. The projection was cut off, and Lu Ting's roar still echoed. Everyone gasped, and Mu Xue's communication cut in. From the Sky Dome, Dr. Su Wangang added. Lu Ting's secret plan is to annex the planet after the disaster. We will do it with you. Lin Fan joined in with a roar. The fortress coordinates are locked, and the fleet is covered by fire. Engineers, did you see? The doctor is in tears and he is still fighting. Whoever retreats, I will throw it into the snow with my own hands. Determination was ignited like fire. The engineer's eyes were red. Some people knelt down. Doctor, we were wrong. The formula was not destroyed, it was Lu Ting's dog. Another person clasped his fists. No witch savior. Fix the formula and smash the high-ranking officials. Cheers broke out, and the metal boots stepped dong-dong together, carrying the data terminal and the spare injector, and rushed to the escape cabin. The shaking at the top of the tower intensified. The blizzard roared, and the white ice curtain swallowed the firelight. Tang Yue glanced at the screen for the last time. The deviation was 5.2%, but the correction path has been revealed. She jumped into the cabin door. The cabin sprayed. The tail flames cut through the wind and snow, and she lifted into the air with the sound of Kara ice breaking. The escape capsule jetted into the air, and the tail flame tore through the heat wave. Mu Xue locked the fleet. Doctor, the capsule is repaired. The 3 survivors are on board. Her voice was painful but as strong as steel. Lin Fan laughed. Lasers roared in the background. Well done, Engineer Mu. The frigate docked and pulled up the Sky Dome. The crew cheered and some people rubbed their eyes. The support column collapsed. The lava gave way. The doctor's prediction was perfect. The pulse dropped by 15%. Another person choked. Captain, we believe her. This woman can reverse the apocalypse. The temporary fortress descends on the Arctic dome. The ice sheet is as lonely as the abyss of space. The wind and snow howl, beat against the metal dome. The internal lights are warm and yellow, and the chill of the frozen earth remains in the air. As the team poured in, Tang Yue landed on the ground with frost on the corners of her robe. She took a deep breath, and there was sulfur hidden in the clear oxygen at the end of her nose. Everyone, unfold the terminal. Suwon's data is loaded, the resonant frequency is corrected, inject antiphase pulses, and suppress the loss of control. Fingers flying, the green light of the screen flashed. The team filed into place. Someone handed a hot drink. Doctor, take a sip. Your tears are still there. She smiled and wiped her tears. For E-47 for the Federation. Lu Ting, wait. The sky dome dived, the laser net cutting through the ice and snow. The frigate engine roared and pulled the net, catching the last cabin, and the magnetic lock clicked shut. The bridge boiled. Lin Fan patted Mu Xue on the shoulder, his burly figure trembling. Girl, your arms. But your eyes are like a doctor. All survivors are pulled up, and the pulse is stable. Mu Xue's tears fell down her charred face. Captain, she predicted 72 hours. We have time. The fortress has a spare particle gun. Fix the formula. The crew gathered around, staring in admiration. Engineer Mu, Captain Lin. You believe her, we all believe it. E-47 is not dead. The doctor will resurrect it. Outside, a blizzard is raging. The volcano's distant light is like a bloody eye, and the planets are roaring. But inside the fortress, data was running like a galaxy. Mu Xue bandaged his arm injury, Lin Fan inspected the firepower, and the engineers whispered in admiration. She refused high-ranking officials and vowed to fix the formula. This woman is an interstellar legend. Determination is like steel, and the 72-hour countdown beep sounded. The first correction pulse was fired. The ice field trembled slightly, and green light faintly broke through the snow. Outside the dome of the fortress, the blizzard danced like silver blades. Hailstones hit the metal walls with ping-ping-ping-pong-pong sounds, making a harsh echo, and the cold wind mixed with the odor of sulfur penetrated into the gaps, making the air inside become damp and biting. Under the warm yellow light, the team gathered around the terminal. The green light on the screen pulsed like a heart, but was mixed with a red alarm beep-beep. The resonant frequency correction only suppressed the pulse by 3%. The planet's core pressure rose to 82%, and the 72-hour countdown has jumped to 71 hours and 59 minutes. Mu Xue's left arm was wrapped in a temporary nanogauze, and the bloodstains turned dark red. She gritted her teeth and held on to the prototype of the particle gun. Her face as pale as frost. Doctor, although the test green light broke through the snow, the underground pulse rebounded. The vegetation area was completely frozen into popsicles, and the oxygen dropped by another 5%. This formula is like a living monster. The more pressure it gets, the crazier it gets. The engineers lowered their heads and gasped. Some people rubbed their frostbitten fingers and murmured in despair. High-ranking official Lu's tracking ship has locked onto the North Pole. Our ruined fortress and weak pulse area cannot withstand the global ice. Suwon said he was robbing crystal mines. Who are we? Cannon fodder sequel. Another person stared out the window at the white ice curtain, his voice trembling like a broken leaf in the wind. Fire over there, the radiation concentration is off the charts, and the residual heat of the lava is steaming. Who is going to take a sample? Doctor, are you going to die before your tears are dry? Lu Ting threatens to be banned forever. And the court of the home planet is waiting. The sarcasm filled the air like a cold mist. Several people's eyes evaded, and their boots rustled uneasily on the floor. The smell of sweat and frozen soil mixed in the air, which was as oppressive as a tomb. Lin Fan's burly figure opened the hatch, and the wind and snow swept up a cloud of ice shards. He slapped the table with his iron palm. Bang! And snow water dripped down his shawl. Bullshit cannon fodder. The sky dome shield has been repaired to 80%, and the laser cannon is hot but not cold. I pulled your whole family during the dive into the volcano. But doctor, without collecting samples from the volcanic relics, correcting the formula is just talk. Our fleet is empty talk. Cover. You put on radiation suits and force your way in. The crew members followed, their faces red and swollen with frostbite. Some of them swallowed their saliva. Captain, the Earth's crust is unstable and the probability of collapse is 90%. Last time on Iron River Planet, all the fleet escorts were buried. Lin Fan stared and roared like an engine exploding. Bury your mother. The doctor made the Death Star green, now trust her. I will drive the Silver Shark to clear the way. Tang Yue stood up, the frost on her white robe fell off. She inhaled the sulfur in the clear oxygen deeply from her nose. Her eyes were burning with fire. She clicked on the holographic star map with her fingertips. The red lines snaked like blood vessels to the depths of the volcanic ruins. If you don't break in, everything will be destroyed in 71 hours. The sample confirms the resonance source and injects reverse phase pulses to stabilize the core. Mu Xue, follow me. Lin Fan, the fleet dives in low orbit, and the laser clears the ice path. Her voice was like a frost blade cutting through the dead silence. The team was stunned and the technician's eyes widened. Doctor, you are not afraid of radiation that will burn your brain? The Lu Ting ship is approaching, and we are falling into a trap. Mu Xue was the first to stand up. The pain in her arm made her face contort, but she gritted her teeth and smiled. I'm afraid of you. Dr. Shadow, I'm sure of it. Radiation equipment, spare particle gun, an engineering package are all with you. The engineers gasped and some people's eyes were red. They too are crazy, but they are reliable. Engineer Mu still rushed with a broken arm, and the doctor refused to retreat in tears. We are worse than pigs and dogs. The radiation suit was activated, and a sizzling blue light bubble enveloped the body. Tang Yue and Mu Xue jumped out of the dome hatch, and the magnetic ice on the soles of their boots shattered with a click. The blizzard hit their faces like thousands of needles pricking their skin. The vision was white, and the blood of the volcanic ruins in the distance loomed, and the afterglow of the lava reflected the red snow curtain like the eyes of hell. Lin Fan's communication blasted in. Silver Shark is dispatched. 3 frigates, laser sweep the ice at full frequency. The Sky Dome's engine roared and tore through the night sky. The silver-gray hull dived into the atmosphere. The shield rubbed against the air and made a low buzz. The laser beam rained down like swords from the sky. The ice layer vaporized hissingly, and steaming white mist rose into the sky, opening a red channel. The crew cheered. Captain's magic. The ice road cracked. The doctor moves forward. Deep into the disaster area. The ground surface is like the backbone of a giant beast, intertwined with ice and fire. The rock formations under our feet are cracking, and heat waves evaporate from the cracks. The radiation filter in the nasal cavity is hissing, and the smell of burning sulfur and metal is overwhelming. Mu Xue's scanner beeped wildly. Doctor, the radiation peak at the entrance to the ruins is 200%. The energy sample is 100 meters underground, the source of the pulse. The two jumped into the crack of the volcanic ruins. The blue light bubble illuminated the remaining wall. The lava solidified into an obsidian forest, and the rubble rolled down like thunder. Suddenly, the Earth's crust trembled violently. A loud bang was heard. The platform beneath my feet collapsed. Tens of thousands of tons of ice and rock fell like a waterfall, and black and red cracks opened their bloody mouths, swallowing everything. Doctor! Mu Xue screamed. Her arm wound exploded and blood spurted out. She pounced on Tang Yue, and her nanoclaw shot out clang, and embedded it into the opposite wall. The two of them were suspended in the air. The hot wind and gravel hit the bubble like a projectile, and the bubble flickered with overload. The lava below boils gulu, orange-red juice splashes and the stench fills the sky. Mu Xue panted, her mask soaked with sweat. The whole line collapsed. The road was broken and the sample area was buried. I have engineering skills to build a bridge. She pulled the wire with one arm, gritted her teeth and threw out the expansion beam module. The metal stretched like a giant claw with a click, and the blue flame of the laser welding gun exploded with a zila, welding the rock wall, and the temporary bridge was formed in the collapse, shaking but stable. Tang Yue's eyes sparkled. Mu Xue, amazing skill. Mu Xue grinned, her voice broken by the pain. Doctor, trust me, I'll hold on. But my arm is about to break. Deep in the ruins, bridges crossed the cracks, and radiation fog lingered like ghosts. They pried open the energy core cabin, and the metal door twisted open with a creak. The blue crystal veins inside flickered like a galaxy, and the out-of-control energy sample suspended in the pulse, buzzing and vibrating the air. Tang Yue injected the collection probe, pop sparks flew, the sample was sealed in the vacuum tube, and data surged. The resonant frequency was not a formula error. It was a residue from scanning alien ruins. Su Wan's communication was switched in, and the image was dark and trembling. Doctor. Hacked into Lu Ting's private channel. The source of the formula was confirmed. E-47 underground alien ruins. He deliberately ignored the 0.01% alien resonance noise and accelerated the transformation to grab the crystal. The energy of the parent star is a cover. This crystal has an energy density 10,000 times that of the federal core. The team communication was boiling and Lin Fan roared. Senior Dog. The silver shark scanned the underground crystal group, activated it to amplify the defects, and the pulse exploded all over the world. The engineer screamed, "Alien goods? Lu Ting sold the Federation for private mines, we died in vain." Mu Xue's eyes widened, blood dripped from her arms. Doctor, this crystal is alive. The sample resonates, and the green light explodes strongly. Tang Yue clenched the tube. The blue crystal at the end of his nose smelled like ionized air. Evidence is in hand. Lu Ting, the game is over. But before he could finish his words, there was a muffled boom in the ground. The alien crystal veins all lit up. Blue light surged out like a tide, amplifying the formula's flaws. The global pulse surged by 20%. The fortress alarm screamed, and the ice field trembled intensified. The private communication flashed again, and Su Wan's image was dim. Dr. Lu Ting has moved. He sent a tracking ship to block E-47 and seized the crystal mine. I give you all the data, let's fight. Tang Yue clenched his fists, eyes burning. Here we come. In the wind and snow, the light of the fortress pierced the night, reversing the prelude and playing loudly. On the way back to the fortress, the lights on the dome suddenly flashed, and Su Wan said urgently, "It's broken." 5 Lu Ting's law enforcement fleet surrounded the North Pole, led by the Behemoth-class battleship, locking the fortress firepower network. The holographic projection appeared, Lu Ting's livid face enlarged. The background of the home star fleet was as black as a swarm of insects. The blue light of the laser cannon was charging, and the buzzing roar spread across the channel.
Tang Yue.
The crime of treason is established. Evidence of alien crystals? Ha, you touched the restricted area. Surrender immediately. Open the cabin and be arrested. If you disobey, destroy the fortress, and the E-47 will be shattered. His roar was like thunder. The law enforcement ship dived into the ice. The shield rubbed against the snowstorm, sizzling. The preheated metal of the main gun expanded, squeaking, and the heat wave steamed up hundreds of meters of white mist. On the bridge of the sky dome, Lin Fan's burly body trembled violently, and the red alert on the main screen flashed. Doctor, the crystal-activated backlash. The fleet shield cannot hold it down, and the ice is accelerating. The crew member's face turned pale. Captain, the pulse rises. The countdown to the planet's core jumps to 68 hours. The alien thing destroys everything. Mu Xue dragged Tang Yue back from the bridge, and the bridge broke with a crack. They jumped back to the edge of the crack. The nanohook was pulled up, and the radiation mist engulfed the ruins. The afterglow of the blue crystal reflected their bubbles like a will-o'-the-wisp. Tang Yue tore off her mask, her frozen hair was flying, and her eyes were filled with tears. She jumped onto the center console and inserted the sample tube into the prototype. Pop! Green and blue arcs flashed and the data was like a starburst. Alien resonance, not a defect, is the key. Lu Ting ignored it. It amplified the pulse, corrected, suppressed the crystal, and revived E-47. Her fingers flew like electricity, and the terminal operated. Boom! Green light shot into the sky outside the fortress, piercing the wind and snow, and headed straight for the law enforcement ship. Lu Ting's projection was distorted. You dare! The fleet's guns all turned, but they were trembling. The blue light of the main guns dimmed, and the crew communication exclaimed, "Energy field interference." Green light pressure pulse. They reversed. The engineers widened their eyes and opened their mouths in an O shape. Doctor? The alien crystal listened to her? Reduce the pulse by 10%. The ice is stable. Mu Xue burst into tears. Shadow will not lose. Captain, cover. Lin Fan laughed and the engine exploded. Silver Shark charge. Look at me smashing a high-ranking official's dog ship. The team was excited, admiring. Chow, legendary. She resisted arrest, controlled the alien power, and turned back on Lu Ting. But in the projection, Lu Ting smiled grimly. A little trick. Law enforcement order. Hunting mode fire. The main gun of the beast ship Zila was fully charged, locking onto Tang Yue's figure. The death beam was ready to go. The fortress trembled, the reversal was on the verge, and the crisis hung like a sword from the top. The dome of the fortress trembled like the spine of a behemoth. The behemoth ship's main gun's blue light expanded sizzlingly. The heat wave steamed up the snow and fog for hundreds of meters. The locking light pierced the center console like a blue will-o'-the-wisp, and Tang Yue's figure was reflected in the red alarm. The engineers screamed and held their heads, their boots thumping on the metal floor. The stench of sweat and permafrost filled the air. It's over. The behemoth shot, the dome melted into iron, and we all evaporated. Doctor, your green light trick can't stop the hunting mode. One person pointed at the holographic projection. His voice shaking like ice in the wind. Lu Ting is invincible. We traitors, we are waiting in the dark cell of our home planet. Surrender, hand over the samples, don't drag the whole team to hell. The taunts were like cold blades running around. Several people's eyes dodged, and they hit the table with their fists bang bang. The air was suffocated by despair. Lin Fan's communication blasted in, his burly face was ashen, and the lights on the bridge of the sky dome flashed wildly in the background. Doctor, stop me! The Silver Shark dives, the frigate spread out, and the laser locks the Vanguard at full frequency. The engines roared and tore through the blizzard, and the silver-gray hull of the sky dome jumped out of low orbit like a shark. The shield rubbed against the atmosphere and buzzed and became hot. The 3 escort ships followed suit, and the metal wing blades cut through the ice mist. Lu Ting's 2 cruisers were the first to pounce. The muzzles of their cannons were red-hot and expanded with a creaking sound. The particle beams were like silver snakes spitting messages, directly hitting the dome of the fortress. Lin Fan roared like thunder. Fire! Smash the dog ship! The Silver Shark's main gun exploded, and the golden laser beam penetrated the snow curtain with a boom, and hit the Vanguard shield with a pop, and sparks flew out. The level difference was like a child punching a steel wall. The cruiser's shield shattered, the hull's flank melted, and the debris exploded like a meteor shower falling onto the ice field with a bang, and the smell of black smoke and sulfur filled his nose. The crew communication was buzzing. Captain is amazing. The Silver Shark hit the melt cruiser. The guards followed, and the particle network blocked the road. Another Vanguard tried to take a detour, and the blue missile group swooshed out, but hit the Lin Fan frigate's anti-missile laser rain. Lu Ting's projection was distorted, and his livid face twitched. Lin Fan, you pirate! The giant beast is pressing forward. Full-range blast. But the Vanguard retreated. The law enforcement fleet's formation was slightly disordered, and the blue light of the main gun suddenly dimmed. The engineers in the fortress widened their eyes and opened their mouths in an O shape. Captain repulsed the Vanguard? The sky's laser was like a sword from the sky. I thought they were all wiped out. One person wiped his tears and said, Lin Fan is iron-blooded and protects our cannon fodder. The doctor can be saved. Tang Yue took a deep breath of the smelly ionized air with her nose, her frozen hair flying. She jumped down from the center console, and the frost on her white robe fell off. We have gained time.
Mu Xue. Laboratory.
New injector. Welding crystal interface. Lin Fan, maintain the firepower network. Suwan, keep up with the intelligence. The voice was like a frost blade cutting through the dead silence. Mu Xue's arm was wounded and blood spurted out. She gritted her teeth and threw herself. Na the rice yarn oozed red. Doctor, your arm is about to break. I'm holding on. Bring all the particle welding guns. The project is complete. The 2 rushed into the laboratory door. The blue light bubble automatically activated. The floor beneath their feet vibrated. The lasers outside the window intertwined like a Star Wars curtain. The metal collision reverberated. The ship shadows shuttled in the loneliness of space, and the shield sparks reflected the red snowy night. In the laboratory, the green and blue arcs of the terminal flashed. The prototype buzzed like a heart beating wildly. The alien crystal sample was suspended in a vacuum tube. The blue veins pulsed like a living creature. The energy density was 10,000 times that of the federal core, and the ionized smell in the air was tangy. Mu Xue fixed the frame of the injector with one arm, and the metal arm stretched. Click click. The blue flame of her laser welding gun sprayed out, welding the crystal interface. Sweat beads slid down the mask, and the pain made her face twist. Doctor, the solder joint is stable, and the interface can withstand a pressure of 100,000 joules. But this crystal is as hot as a molten core. The bleeding in the arm cannot be stopped and the welding is crooked. What should I do? The engineer peeked from the periphery, murmuring in despair. Engineer Mu's arm is rotted into mud, and he is still welding the artifact? Doctor's formula simulation, pulse backlash will explode at any time. Lu Ting's monster is charging. The taunting started again. They are committing suicide, Crystal Key? Maybe the castle will be blown up. Tang Yue's fingertips were flying like electricity. The holographic star map unfolded, and the red and blue data lines were winding like blood vessels. She injected sample data. Resonant noise, not a defect, it is an alien stabilizer. Lu Ting ignored 0.01%. The crystal activated amplified pulses, corrected parameters, inverted injection, suppressed the world. The simulation ran, boom, green light flashed, the pulse curve on the screen rose sharply, and then dropped sharply. The core pressure simulation dropped to 75%, and the ice layer stabilized and projected green. Mu Xue paused while using the welding gun and widened her eyes. Doctor? The simulation was successful? The crystal is obedient, and the pulse pressure is 20%. But the arm injury pulled, she groaned. The welding gun fell down and hit the table. The blood spray mask was filled with mist. I can't hold on, the interface is half finished, doctor, please take it. Tang Yue rushed towards her, holding her trembling hand, smelling the smell of blood and burnt metal. Mu Xue, your shadow is immortal. I will stabilize the formula during relay welding. Your arm, I will wrap it up. The two put their hands on each other, and the blue flames of the welding torch danced sizzling together. The interface clicked, to perfectly integrate. The crystal veins resonated with the injector, and the low buzz vibrated on the table. The green and blue halo spread like a newborn galaxy. Mu Xue burst into tears, her voice broken. Doctor, from the first moment of the transformation day, I believed in your shadow. Even if your arm is broken, this injector is a magic weapon. Tang Yue's eyes were sore and hot. It's not just the shadow, sister. Let's expose Lu Ting's conspiracy. The engineer outside said. Taking the air conditioning, the two of them are welded together to support each other? Crystal voltage stabilization. Simulated green E47. The blood is flowing in the arms, but they are still laughing. Pigs and dogs are not as good as us. Admiration surged. One person smashed his fist. Legendary bond. Doctor's formula, which Mu Xue defying the heavens. Su Wan's communication was switched in, the image was dark and trembling, and the background hacking data was rolling in. Dr. Lu Ting's ambition is explosive. All private channels were leaked. The E47 disaster was his chess, using pulse collapse to overthrow the federal parliament and establish himself as the king of the star field. The crystal mine is not only energy, he built a private fleet with 10,000 times the density, build a star-destroying weapon. The black account evidence is locked, and it's in the mother planet. Lin Fan roared back. Senior dog. I, the silver shark, defeated his vanguard, and now the giant beast is approaching, and the firepower network can't suppress it. The team was furious and the engineer was jealous. Su Wan is shocked. Lu Ting rebels against the Federation? We are not cannon fodder, we are heroes. The verification started. Tang Yue pushed the injector into the prototype machine. Pop, the arc flashed. The crystal blue vein injected the reverse pulse. The green light outside the fortress soared into the sky again, like a giant pillar piercing the wind and snow, heading straight to low orbit. The global pulse curve beep dropped sharply by 15%. The core pressure was locked at 75%. The ice sheet stopped trembling slightly, and the projected oxygen in the vegetation area increased by 2%. The engineer screamed. The crystal is stable. Green light pressure pulse. E47 comes to life. Doctor's initial correction. Stable in 68 hours. Mu Xue wrapped new gauze on her arms, gritted her teeth and stood up straight. Sister's masterpiece. Lin Fan withstand the firepower. Lin Fan laughed. Silver Shark's engine is at full speed, and the guard bites the tail of the giant beast. Inside the fortress, the team was in chaos, and the engineer held his head. It's over. The behemoth ship melted the dome with one cannon, and we captured them all. Doctor, your sample has brought an alien disaster, and Lu Ting calls you a traitor. The taunting started again, and someone pointed at the black shadow outside the door. Surrender, the fleet of senior officials is invincible. Our pulse-weak fortress, the laser gun hits the mosquitoes. Lin Fan smashed his fist. Shut up. The sky vault is full fire, the guards block it. Mu Xue's arm injury collapsed, her blood-stained radiation suit. She rushed to the terminal. Doctor, sample loading, reverse pulse pressurization. But the fleet. Tang Yue's eyes were filled with fire, and the ionized smell in her nose was mixed with the smell of burnt earth. She pressed the start button fiercely. There is no way out. Alien crystals, full power injection. The prototype boomed loudly. The blue crystal veins were bright like a supernova, and unknown pulses were like a tide. The green and blue halo spread for thousands of meters, interfering with the collapse of the enemy ship's shield. However, there was a muffled glue underground. The trembling of the planet's core intensified, and the data red alert beep screamed. The source of the pulse mutated, and the new energy wave spread unknown. Lu Ting's face turned pale. This alien backlash? Ceasefire. The muzzle of the behemoth ship's cannon suddenly dimmed, but late, an unknown pulse hit the ship formation. Pop, the shield of a heavy cruiser shattered, and the explosion fireball reflected the red snowy night. But in the projection, Lu Ting's grin was magnified, and the law enforcement fleet in the background was reorganized. 10 heavy cruisers behind the behemoth ship were pressing forward, and the sky was covered with darkness like a swarm of insects. The little trick is over. Let's go all out to hunt and attack, and destroy the fortress. The main guns all charged up, the metal expanded and creaked, particle beams rained down, and the fortress shield smashed and sparks flew. The dome shook like an earthquake, lights flashed and cracks spread. The engineer held his head and said, "The swarm of giant beasts will destroy everything. The green light can't be stopped, Doctor, retreat." Mu Xue rushed to the terminal. The prototype is overloaded, the crystal is hot and explosive. In the fortress laboratory, the afterglow of the green-blue halo pulsed like a ghost. The hum of the prototype gradually faded. The blue veins of the alien crystal dimmed and converged, and the smell of ionized earth mixed with scorched earth lingered in the air for a long time. The red alarm beep on the terminal screen was low. The global pulse curve was stable below 85%. The core pressure was locked at 75%. The oxygen index rose slightly by 2.3%. The ice sheet stopped trembling slightly, and green mist was born in the projected vegetation area. The engineers were slumped on the metal floor, their boots pattering with sweat stains. Their faces were as pale as frozen corpses. One of them rubbed his eyes and murmured, "Doctor, did this green and blue halo suppress the pulse? The E-47 didn't explode. I thought it was completely evaporated." Another person punched his thigh, and the sound shaking like ice in the wind. Engineer Mu's arm was broken and blood spurted out, but he still wielded a divine weapon. Captain Lin Fan fought off the giant beasts with his silver shark and heavenly sword. Are we pigs and dogs alive? Worship surged like a heat wave. Several people's eyes flickered. Their noses deeply inhaled the salty smell of victory, and the gray mist of despair suddenly dispersed. Mu Xue slid against the wall and sat down. The nanogauze on her left arm was sizzling red, and new bloodshot eyes were oozing out. She gritted her teeth and tore open the first aid kit, and the spray hissed to freeze the wound. The pain made her face twist into an iron pincer. "Doctor, the prototype is stable. The crystal pressure is 15% pulse. The 8-hour countdown has slowed down a bit. But this unknown wave." The data jumped red and the core tremors intensified. "It's worth it if I break my arm, but a new ghost is on my body." She stared at Tang Yue with wide eyes. Her voice was trembling, sweat dripped down her mask, and blood dripped on the floor. Lin Fan's communication projection flickered, and the stars on the bridge of the sky vault were lonely in the background. His burly face was livid, and the shield sparks reflected his red beard. "Doctor, a magical skill." Unknown waves disrupted the enemy's shield. My silver shark bit a heavy cruiser and exploded into a fireball. The vanguard retreated. The beast's cannon is dim. But my frigate is flashing, the engine is hot, and the intelligence says that Lu Ting is reorganizing. Take a breath, and the fire network is maintained. The crew shouted. Captain, the iron blood. The laser penetrates the steel shell. The space is like a slaughterhouse. Doctor's green light. Help. Su Wan's image dimly cut in, and the black account data scrolled like a mad worm. Doctor, the entire black account home planet, the parliament is in shock. Lu Ting's ambition. E47 formula. He planted a backdoor long ago. Promoted the disaster of self-reliance, crystal mine private ship star-destroying cannon. You heroes take a rest? Horrified scanning into the ruins is started. The team breathed a sigh of relief. One of the engineers handed the energy bar Galu, and swallowed it, murmuring, Su Wan's divine hacker has exposed the high-ranking officials. Doctor, let's take stock. We'll upgrade the prototype and we'll weld the spare interface. Tang Yue took a deep breath of the ionization smell at the end of his nose. The frost on her robe was shaken off, and she jumped onto the center console. Her fingertips were like electric dancing holographic star maps, and the red and blue data lines were winding like living veins. Repair for 10 minutes. Mu Xue, arm priority, nano self-healing activated. Lin Fan, fleet patrolling in low orbit, monitoring blue and green cracks. Su Wan, left behind trace frequency lock. Harvest. Crystal stabilizer confirmed. Revised formula first version. Pulse suppression. Oxygen recovery. Improvement. Backup injector dual construction. Data fusion alien noise. Complete inversion of the sound. The team's eyes lit up with fire. The engineers jumped up, their boots thumped, the particle welding gun's blue flame sprayed out, and the spare skeleton was assembled with a click, and the smell of burnt metal filled their nostrils. Dr. Witch. The first edition is against the sky. We welded and flew up, and the two magic soldiers overwhelmed Lu Ting's dog ship. Mu Xue held up one arm and sprayed hiss to stop the bleeding. She grabbed the tool bag with an iron-blooded smile on her face. Sisters, my arm is half useless, let's weld the right hand. Prototype heatsink, crystal vein record, fusion rate 99%, new formula simulation run. Her fingers flew around the terminal, the screen green arc flashed, the curve suddenly rose and then stabilized, and the ice projection green spread by 10%. Lin Fan laughed and echoed. The Silver Shark engine is cooling down, the guards are repairing the shield, the doctor is upgraded, and my firepower is doubled. The space is lonely, and I guard the Arctic dome like an iron wall. Outside the fortress, the blizzard whirred. The snow mist wrapped the laser embers, the cracks in the dome healed themselves, the lights were steady green, and the brief silence was like a breath before the storm. The team was stunned, Mu Xue stared. Doctor? The crystal obeyed the order, but this pulse a new crisis? Lin Fan's communication trembled. Unknown waves overwhelmed the enemy ship, my silver shark shield flashed. Doctor, magical skills, but the core data jumped. The engineers' mouths were shaped like O. She activated the power of the restricted area, repelling the massive offensive? A legendary reversal with fear and excitement. Outside the fortress, the pulse halo expanded like a living creature. The shadow of the ship trembled in the loneliness of space. The 47 night sky cracked with blue and green cracks, and the unknown catastrophe was quietly brewing, and the 68-hour countdown accelerated.
Suanes communication flashed. Relic scan.
5 kilometers underground in the North Pole. The alien AI signal is weakly activated. The crystal pulse awakens the Guardian, the data. The formula was originally a weapon of destruction. The Federation stole the fragments, and Lu Ting had known to manipulate it. The team was stunned, and sparks flew from the center console while they were repairing it. The engineer screamed and held his head. Ruin AI? Mechanical bug swarm. Tranquility is over, the new Ghost King. In the projection, the metal door of the underground ruins opened with a bang, and countless mechanical bugs poured out like a black tide. The meter-diameter carapace flashed blue arcs. Buzzing wings tore through the snow curtain, and the red sensor eyes locked on the shadow of the low-orbiting ship like a will-o'-the-wisp, and flew through the air at supersonic speeds. Lin Fan roared and exploded. Insects swarm. Silver Shark dives, the main gun locks the core, and the guard particle net seals it. The The silver-gray hull of the sky dome jumped out of the low orbit, the blue flames of the engine tore through the atmosphere, the golden laser beams poured out, and the mechanical bugs hit the mechanical bugs and exploded into metal rain, and the fragments smashed into the ice field like meteors. But the insect swarm was fearless. Thousands of them swarmed into a sizzling arc net, which penetrated the frigate's shield and shattered. The hull's flanks were melted and creeped and twisted. The crew screamed and the communication boiled. "Captain! The insect armor is resistant to lasers and is level-crushing. Pressure, my escort's engine exploded." Lin Fan's livid face twitched. "Hold it. Spread out and turn around, missiles at full range." In the loneliness of space, the ships and insects intertwined like a doomsday curtain. The metal collision reverberated, and the blue arc reflected the red starry sky. The inside of the fortress was shaking like an earthquake. Mu Xue jumped at the drone console and knocked wildly with one arm. "Doctor, our drone swarm is attacking."
20 nanobis. Drilling insect cores.
The button clicked, the door hissed open, and the drones buzzed out of the snowstorm like silver bees. "But the arm injury pulled," she groaned. The blood spray mask was foggy. "It hurts. There are only 10 bees left in the swarm. The insect king has a thick guard, I can hold on." The engineer's eyes widened, his mouth was O-shaped. "Mu Xue. Control the bees with one arm to explode the insect king. I dare not touch it because my fingers are shaking." Tang Yue's eyes were burning. "Mu Snow, lock the insect core frequency, my data support." She danced with electricity on her fingertips, fused the crystal noise, and transmitted the frequency to the drone. Buzz, the swarm accelerated, penetrated into the giant shell of the insect king and Zila, imploded. The blue arc flashed wildly, the insect king boom, shattered into a rain of fragments. The first wave of the group attack disintegrated, and black smoke filled the nose.
Lin Fan looked Ludli, Mu Xue.
The swarm of insects dispersed, and the silver shark swept away. The laser rain penetrated the remaining insects, and the space returned to silence, and the debris surrounded it like a death zone. But Tang Yue could smell the smell of sulfur underground getting stronger. The first wave was defeated. The source of the AI is in the ruins. Mu Xue, Lin Fan. Cover me when I go deep. She grabbed the data probe, her white robe fluttering, and rushed to the hatch. The engineer trembled. Doctor broke in personally? The AI in the ruins was destroyed. "Star, we are following." Mu Xue gritted her teeth and held on. "Sisters, my drone is clearing the way." The underground elevator came down with a rumble. The blue-green light was dazzling. The ancient metal wall was engraved with runes, and the AI core's red eyes lit up and hummed, like a living god awakening. When Tang Yue inserted the probe into the interface, an arc exploded, and a torrent of data surged. The original alien destruction chain, the alien race self-destructed the planet and fled. The Federation stole the fragments, and Lu Ting had known that he had planted a backdoor to control the disaster. A complete correction appeared on the screen, green light flashed, and the cycle of destruction was locked in reverse. Mu Xue's communication trembled. "Doctor, the truth about the formula?" Lu Ting manipulated the Ghost King, and knew it would destroy the star. Lin Fan roared. "High-ranking officer, our fleet trusts you completely, save 47 in its entirety." The team boiled, and the engineer punched his fist with envy. "Legendary interpretation. Defeat the AI wave, the formula is complete, we are immortal." Tang Yue pulled out the probe with a fire in his eye. "Sisters, the reversal is within grasp." But the projection suddenly flashed. The home star channel was invaded, and Lu Ting kissed him. The figure is livid and grinning. The main fleet in the background is dark and suffocating. The metal of the hundreds of star-destroying cannons is sizzling. "Traitor Tang Yue, awaken the ruins AI, destroy the federal settlement, and annihilate all orders." The giant beast personally leads and destroys the North Pole. The red light of the main gun locks on the fortress. The particle rain pours down. The dome cracks, the underground AI's red eyes light up again. Buzzing, the 68-hour ticking accelerates, and a new crisis breaks out like a wave. The core of the underground ruins is beating like a giant beast's heart. The red-eyed AI's buzzing roar echoes against the metal wall. The blue and green arcs of ancient runes are scurrying, sizzling, and the smell of sulfur mixed with electricity and charcoal hits your nose, making your chest feel as tight as iron pincers. Outside the dome of the fortress, particle rain boom, poured down like a doomsday metal storm, the ice sheet Kara Kara, cracked for thousands of meters, snow and mist wrapped in red-hot debris fell bang bang, black smoke towered into the sky. The lights all turned blood red and flashed. The shaking caused the engineer to stagger and hold his head. His boots snapped and slipped on the blood-stained floor, and one person's nosebleed spurted out. Snap! The voice was as trembling as ice. Lu Ting dog ship. Hundreds of star-destroying cannons, locked by the particle net. The dome is shattered, and we will turn into space ash. Another person punched the wall. Bang! His face twisted into a ghost. Dr. God's formula? AI wakes up and bites back. 68 hours ticking. The 47 evaporation countdown turns from 72 to 60. It's over. Mu Xue held the console with one arm, and the nano yarn on her left arm sizzled and cracked. The hissing spray of new blood failed to freeze. The pain made her bite blood on her teeth, and her sweat mixed with the mist mask. Sisters. There are 5 drones left, the bee needles are exhausted, and the insect corpse fragments are still crawling. Lu Ting's particles burned through, and the door of the escape ship welded melted. She tapped the terminal with her fingers, the red alert on the screen flashed wildly, and the escape ship blueprint was twisted like a living insect. Lin Fan's communication projection was livid and distorted. The bridge alarm of the sky dome was beeping piercingly, and the black shadow of the capital ship was like a mountain in the lonely space in the background. The star-destroying cannon's red light boomed as the metal expanded, and he had to reflect particle sparks. Doctor! There are 3 silver shark guards left, and the engine warning of thermal explosion. The giant beast bites the tail of the ship, the laser swipes the hull, and the shield is reduced by 30%. Escape. I will cover you with the fire net. The crew roared intermittently. Captain! The main force is crushed, my engine is melted, the debris rains like knives, and the space becomes a graveyard. Su Wan's image cut darkly, and the black account data rolled like a worm. Her face was as pale as a corpse. The projection of the parliament on the background home star was split, and the blue and white members of the council were livid. Doctor, the truth is revealed in the black account. Lu Tingji manipulated the formula through the back door and stole the alien fragments to trigger the disaster. During my lobbying, the council split. Half of them believe you are a hero, and you were promoted to the rank of crisis commander with temporary permission to fire the net. But Lu Ting slandered. Tang Yue stole the ruins AI, and the traitor called for destruction. Starworm, steal the crystal mine. The dog gang members are suppressing the meeting, the capital ship has full power, and the fatwa is spreading to the entire Federation. Hold on. I'm hacking the parliament terminal, trying to delay it. The engineer gasped. One person knelt down and held his head. Sushin hacker. The military rank is reversed? But Lu Ting's hundreds of ships are approaching, and the star-destroying cannon is steaming the fortress, and we are all worms. The gray fog of despair is mixed in the worship, the smell of sulfur is intensifying, and the muffled galoo in the ground is like the second wave of AI awakening. Lu Ting's personal shadow invades the full channel, iron green grins like a wolf, the metal of the deck of the giant beast's flagship creaks and bends in the background. The loneliness of space reflects the silhouette of hundreds of black ships. The red light of the star-destroying cannon pulses like a heart. Tang Yue insect thief. Steal the alien destruction chain, call the AI to counterattack U-47. Discuss, will you blindly believe in your witch? Total annihilation. Particles are locked in full frequency and burned to ashes. The golden particle beam bang penetrated the dome. The fortress shook like an earthquake, the underground elevator cracked, and the fragments rained down on the engineer's shoulder, and his body was bloody, and one person screamed and fell to the ground. Collapse. The particles burn my lungs, the hot wind is like a knife, I can't survive. Tang Yue's white robe was stained with blood and dust. The tip of her nose was stuck to the AI red-eye interface, and the arc burned her palms black. The torrent of data was like needles pricking her brain. Relic energy field. Alien shielding legacy. Resonant crystal frequency lockmaster. Power. The electric dance on the fingertips injects the complete formula inversion. The blue veins of the crystal buzz burst into light. The ancient runes are fully activated. The metal wall bangs and the energy dome rises. The blue-green force field sizzles, expands 1,000 meters. The particle rain hits the pop and evaporates into plasma mist. And the smell of ozone rises into the sky. Mu Xue's eyes widened, and her one-armed welding gun landed with a clang, her mouth shaped like an O. Doctor? The ruins force field blocked the star cannon? The blue and green dome was like a shield, the particles flew away, and my arm was so painful that I forgot. This which is against the sky. The engineers were stunned, their bloody faces twisted in admiration. She called out with her fingertips, ancient god. Shield hundreds of ships. Lu Ting's dog laughed stiffly. We will not be destroyed. But the force field pulsed unstable, the Caracrax climbed up, the AI's red eyes flashed in revenge, the second wave of underground mechanical insects buzzed, black tide surged, and the seams in the meter-level carapace drill force field Zilla exploded with arcs. Lin Fan roared through the communication. Hold the Aegis. The silver shark swooped down, the missiles cleared the insect swarms, and the escorts lifted off the escape ships. The sky's silver-gray hull tore through the atmosphere with a boom, the engine's blue flame reflected the snowstorm, the missile's red tracks swooshed through the insect swarm, and banged the metal rain, and the space debris surrounded it like a belt of fallen stars, and the clang-clang of the metal impact echoed in silence. Tang Yue pulled out the probe, eyes blazing. Mu Xue, upgrade the escape ship. Crystal backup injection. Nano-engine overclocking, fusion relic frequency to escape tracking. Lin Fan, low orbit support. Su Wan fights for military rank. Her white robe fluttered and she rushed towards the elevator wreckage. The engineer rushed towards her. Doctor, personally evacuate? I will follow you. The boots made a ding-dong sound, the particle welding gun's blue flame sizzled into the escape cabin, and the nanoskeleton was assembled with a caca, and the smell of burnt metal was overwhelming. Mu Xue gritted her teeth and grabbed the tool with one arm, and couldn't stop the blood spurting. Her fingers flew around the terminal, and the screen exploded with a green arc. Sisters, I'm soldering the overclocked core. The crystal veins are 99% melted, the engine heatsink pressure is 25%, and the relic frequency is disappearing. The silver shell of the escape ship buzzed and trembled. The hatch opened with a hiss, the blue-green force field wrapped around the ship like a ghost, and the smell of sulfur was mixed with the smell of hot engine oil. The engineer punched his chest and said bang, his voice trembling. Mu Xue's one-armed magic welder. The escape ship is invisible. Lu Ting's blind dog bites the air. I will follow the doctor. The particle net of the main fleet swept away with boom. The edge of the force field dome shattered, the blue and green mist dispersed, the insect swarm penetrated into the papa, and exploded close to the fortress. Red eyes locked on the shadow of the escape ship. Lin Fan's silver shark jumped into orbit. Escort. The missile sealed the insect path, and the main cannon blasted the tail of the beast. The golden laser poured out with boom, and the collision with the heavy patrol shield ZZ caused sparks to fly. The level difference was like child's play. The heavy cruiser's counterattack plasma beam whoosh penetrated the escort wreckage and boom, exploded into a fireball. The solitude of space reflected the orange-red wreckage, and the debris hit the ice field like rain. Bang bang. And the ionized stench rose into the sky. The crew screamed and boiled. Captain! The guards are all destroyed. The Silver Shark engine is redlined. The monster cannon is locked on me. Fuse warning. Lin Fan was livid and twitched. Top! Take a detour and bite the tail to cover the doctor's track. The escape ship buzzed and took off. The force field disappeared into the snowstorm, and the blue flame of the nano-engine whispered, sliding into the darkness of low orbit. Su Wan's communication flashed wildly, and the division of the parliament's projections intensified. The members of the Blue Party were blushing and thick-necked. Su Wan's evidence is black, and Lu Ting's backdoor is exposed. Tang Yue, the crisis commander, has full authority to mobilize ships to counterattack. But the Lu Dog Party fought back. Traitors who steal AI. The parliament is blind, destroying stars first. The authority was temporarily granted, and Tang Yue's holographic military rank flashed on the screen. Commander authorized, Silver Shark firepower obeys the order. The team relaxed for a moment, and the engineer jealous. The position has been reversed. Dr. Military God, with the support of the parliament, Lu Ting is crying. But the pursuit is fierce. The red light of the main gun of the Beast flagship surges Zila. Locks the low orbit. The particle beam sweeps boom. Lin Fan's Silver Shark, the shield of Kara, was shattered as he rushed back. The flanks were melted and creeped and twisted, and the engine boomed and burst into flames. He roared intermittently. Doctor was shot. The engine died, the silver shark crashed into the rails, and the insect swarm bit its tail. It can't withstand it. Mu Xue screamed. Captain, the remaining bees from my drone are clearing the way, help. But the remaining bees buzzed into the insect corpses and exploded. Tang Yue had a cold look in his eyes, his white robe fluttered towards the cockpit, and the electric dance on his fingertips took over the nano joystick. Lin Fan, lock the frequency and I'll come. Rescue at full speed. The escape ship's force field peeled off and exposed. The blue shell flashed orbital starlight. The nano engine overclocked boom, to tear through the silence, and rushed into the afterimage of the silver shark.
Lu Ting laughed ferociously. Exposed?
The traitor surrenders, and the star is locked to death. The red light of 100 cannons gathered like the sun. The metal in space squeaked due to thermal expansion, and the particle rain bombed in the rear. The engineer held his head and screamed, Doctor, come and save us? After being exposed, the giant beast cannons will steam us, and we will be a space grave. Mu Xue beat the auxiliary furiously with one arm. Help, sisters. Engine overload, melt warning, land-dog bites. The red-eye pulse of the underground AI accelerated. The 68-hour ticking rushed to 55. The 47 ice sheet Kala, completely cracked. The volcanic ash column boomed. Into the sky, black clouds pressed into the city. Oppression was like an iron curtain and eternal night, and new crises were like beast claws clawing at the heart. The escape ship swooped down on the silver shark. The nanotow hook shot out and clicked to bite the tail of the ship. Tang Yue danced with holograms. Crystal frequencies were injected into the engine. Resonant pressure heat. Pull up. The silver shark trembled and derailed. The rain of debris wiped the cabin and the arc exploded, and the smell of ozone-burned meat hit the cabin. But the behemoth's main gun was fully charged with Zila. Red light locked the two ships, and the curtain of death unfolded in the loneliness of space. Lin Fan projected an iron-blooded smile. Doctor is here. My silver shark is immortal, bite back. The engineer stared and trembled. She saved the captain personally. Exposed the sky-defying Lu Ting's cannon came, my heart stopped. Mu Xue's bloody face twisted. Sisters, overload for 5 seconds, hold on. The particle beam hit the tail and bombed the molten bulkhead. The heat wave burned the lungs, the peak of crisis, reversal. In the cockpit of the escape ship, the nano-control lever was like a living snake. Sizzling arcs wrapped around Tang Yue's fingertips. The burnt edges of her white robe fluttered. Sweat mixed with blood mist condensed into frost. And the heat wave at the end of her nose mixed with the smell of burnt meat like an iron hook tearing her lungs. The tow hook at the tail of the silver shark was pulled crack crack, and the orange flames of the engine reflected the black scene of low orbit. In the loneliness of space, the debris was ringing like a belt of fallen stars and clang clang, hit the bulkhead. The engineer's teeth trembled in shock, and he was hugged by one person. Head curled up in the corner of the cabin. Doctor, the monster cannon is fully charged. The red light is like the sun biting the tail. The particles melt our bones. The silver shark drags us to death, and we are all steamed. Mu Xue hit the support desk with one arm bang. His bloody face twisted. His left arm, the nanoveil, hissed, blood leaked and froze into red crystals, and her voice cracked like residual ice. Sisters, the engine was overloaded for 8 seconds. The heat sink exploded. The land-dog particle network was fully locked. The invisible trace was stripped, and the cemetery was over. Lin Fan's projection flashed livid. The Sky Dome bridge alarm beep pierced his brain, and the crew in the background screamed intermittently. Captain's shield 0. The flanks are melted, insect corpse fragments are drilling through the deck, and the space has become a sea of plasma. Lu Ting's full-frequency grin reverberated like a wolf's howl throughout the cabin. The heat-expanded metal creaked and suppressed. His livid face was distorted by the projection on the deck of the behemoth flagship. The red light of hundreds of star-destroying cannons gathered together. Traitor witch! Are you driving yourself to death? The council is blind. Give me a military rank, I will be crushed by hundreds of ships, and your level will be as high as that of an ant. The particles will burn you to ashes, and the E-47 insect corpse will be buried. The formula is out of control, and the whole Federation will blame you. The golden torrent of particle beam boom tore through the silence, and the stern of the escape ship Zilla melted. The metal liquid on the bulkhead splashed. The hot wind was like a knife shaving his face. The engineer's nosebleeds spurted out, and his eyes were as wide as a dead fish. Lu Ting, the gunner. My heart is broken, and the doctor's rescue is in vain. The secondary particles burn my lungs. I won't survive. The data in Tang Yue's mind, the torrent is surging. The revised blue vein record of the formula collides with the resonant resonance of the ruins, and the psychological game is like an arc explosion. The hidden trace is exposed, the engine is overloaded, Lin Fan is seriously injured, and the parliamentary authority is temporarily as thin as ice. A hack into the Lu Dog system? The risk formula backfires, and Su Wan's information is incomplete. What if the gang members counterattack and are completely wiped out? But without a counterattack, the behemoth's main gun fired and both ships flew into ashes. The E-47 ticked for 55 hours and the ash pillars of the planet's fissures reached the sky. The second collapse was close at hand. She gritted her teeth and said with a cold light in her eyes, Mu Xue, hack in. Relic crystal frequency code. Terrifying beast fire control network. Mu Xue grabbed the terminal with one arm like an iron hook. Blood beads tick hitting the keyboard, and the black tide rolled on the screen like a swarm of insects. Sisters, let me try. The nanoneedle probes the spare crystal of the ruins, and the frequency code is injected into the hacker. The fingers flew pop, the arc simmered, and the palms were burnt black. The smell of ozone mixed with the heat of the engine oil. The terminal's red alert flashed wildly. Hacking into the firewall 50%, 70%, and Lu Ting's gang members invaded with project projections. Bad welding. Behemoth quantum lock. The level difference will crush your brain. However, the blue and green veins of the crystal buzzed brightly, and the ancient rune records penetrated the cracks of the network like viruses. Mu Xue bit her teeth and bleeds. Broken. Fire control paralyzed by 10%, 20%. The red light of the star-destroying cannon flickered intermittently. The engineer in the escape ship's cabin widened his eyes and his mouth trembled in an O shape. The one-armed beast of the gods? The gun lock shook like a drunken dog, and the particle beam deflected and wiped the air. She is a blood-handed demon defying the sky. Lin Fan's shadow of the shadow shook, and he smiled iron-bloodedly.
Split, Mu Xue.
My silver shark bites the flanks and envelopes the stern. The flames of the Sky Dome's engine bang evade. The silver-gray hull tears apart the low-orbit black curtain. The missile's red track swooshes, flanks the heavy patrol escort. Bang, the orange-red fireball explodes. The space debris clang echoes lonely, and the hot smell of metal rushes into the cabin. Tang Yue's heartbeat was like a war drum, and the psychological balance was tilted. Mu Xue's hacking was only 20% paralyzed. The beast's main cannon was still stored. The land dog was cunning and had a trump card, and the parliament was divided at the last moment. The truth of the broadcast? Su Wan's files are not complete. What if the evidence is as thin as paper, and turns out to be irrefutable evidence of the traitor? However, due to delays, the planet's secondary volcanic chain exploded, and the formula went out of control and spread to the federal border. She fingered the electrodancing holographic military rank. Su Wan, full file. The conspiracy is exposed, and the broadcast is in full frequency. Su Wan's image cut darkly, and the black account data exploded on the screen like a mad worm. Her pale face was gleaming with sweat. The background projection of the Home Star Council intensified, and the blue and white members' faces were ashen and distorted. Doctor. The black account full file. Lu Ting stole alien fragments and planted a backdoor, and manipulated the formula out of control to destroy 47. More than one planet, he plans to chain 10 border planets and rebuild the ashes of hegemony. Quan, embezzling the crystal veins. All the evidence, quantum signatures, transfer tracks, and ghost communications in the parliament were exposed. The engineer gasped, punched the bulkhead with a fist and said with jealousy. Shun Tzu's black tent exploded with thunder. Lu Go destroyed the 10-star demon. I am heartbroken. The doctor's rank is a god reversal. Lightning flashed in Tang Yue's mind. The evidence is hammer. The blue party in the parliament will defect, but Lu Ting's gang members are suppressing the situation. The broadcast needs crystal amplification. The risk is exposed. The giant cannon is locked. Broadcast. The relic crystal increases in full frequency. The truth blasts the Federation. Tang Yue's white robe fluttered and hit the communication core. The nanoneedle hissed and penetrated. The blue and green force field pulses buzzed and expanded 1,000 meters outside the cabin. Su Wan's file was like a virus torrent boom, rushing through the whole frequency range. Hundreds of ships' communications were sizzling. In the loneliness of space, Lu Ting's livid face was distorted by the projection. Stop. Fake files framed by traitors. But the evidence quantum lock exposed the lie, and the heavy cruiser bridge crew surrendered. A shadow flashed, and an adjutant's eyes trembled. Sir, the black account is real. Lu Ting destroyed 10 stars. I will not follow the devil. The blue-manged engines of the 5 federal cruisers on the flanks flashed. Sir. Commander Tang Yue, obey the order. Firepower turns into a monster. The golden laser boom pours out the heavy patrol shield. Zila, sparks fly. The level difference is reversed instantly. The orange debris hits the ice field like a meteor shower. Bang bang, black smoke rises into the sky, and the ionized smell hits the low orbit. Lin Fan yelled at the projection. Defection! The silver sharks are outflanking, and the missiles are sealing the muzzle of the behemoth. The remaining engine of the Sky Dome dived with a boom. The red-railed gun barrel bang imploded and sprayed metal fragments with a clang. The behemoth flagship shook and kala. The deck was bent, and the loneliness of space reflected the sea of fire. Mu Xue knocked wildly with one arm. Sisters hacked 40%. Half of the star-destroying cannons are paralyzed, and the particle network is intermittently intoxicated. The engineers' blood-faced faces were twisted in ecstasy, holding their heads and shouting, I'm crazy about the god. The defecting ship bites the land dog. We are immortal. The doctor broadcasts the witch. The parliament is fully supported. But Tang Yue's heart was as cold as an ice needle. The reversal was slight. Lu Ting's main force of 80 ships was still under pressure. The behemoth shield was only reduced by 15%. The planet was running wildly with a 54-hour countdown. The underground AI's red eyes pulsed for the 3rd time, and the black tide of mechanical bugs had climbed onto the wreckage of the fortress and buzzed into orbital debris. Her psychological game reignited. Sacrificing the escape ship's engine to fully overclock and drag the Silver Shark out of the battle? Lin Fan's Silver Shark was badly damaged and turned into ashes when it was destroyed. One arm of Mu Xue was drained of blood. The team worshipped him like fire and refused to abandon it. However, the Landdog has not played its trump card. The broadcast is only delayed. The formula injection ruins are unstable. The secondary collapse of the volcanic chain Galu makes a muffled sound, and the Arctic ice sheet breaks apart. Black clouds press the low orbit like an iron curtain, and sulfur ash hits the cabin windows and blurs the vision. Lu Ting's full-frequency roar was like a beast's roar, veins popping out on his livid face. Traitor! Rebellious bug! My hidden weapon is activated. The metal on the belly of the beast's flagship creeped. The red veins of the alien fragment crystal flashed buzzing, and planetary energy waves were brewing like a solar storm. E-47 Earth's core resonates with a bang. The Arctic volcanic ash column explodes into space with a second explosion. Black clouds wrap up red-hot debris and hit the low orbit with a bang-bang. The ice sheet Kara Kara rifts 10,000 meters away. The heat wave burns the ship's hull and the nanoskin peels off, and the smell of ozone burns into the sky. A medium-wave boom of the defecting cruiser evaporated into plasma mist, and the crew's screams echoed. Energy wave planetary level. A 47 collapsed twice. The Earth's core melted and we are all ashes. Lin Fan's projection twitched. Doctor, the monster alien cannon. The Silver Shark engine is dead. The tow hook is broken. The insect, the third wave of the group, bites the orbit. Mu Xue screamed and held on with one arm. Sisters overload collapse. Melt bulkhead. Earth dog star-destroying artifact. It's over. The engineer stared in fear and trembled. Hidden weapon demon. The second planetary apocalypse. Even the doctor and military god can't stand it. My heart is broken. Tang Yue's eyes were fiery. Her white robe was stained with gray, and her fingertips were equipped with electric dancing crystals. Resonant countermeasures. Mu Xue used the energy wave frequency code. Lin Fan decoupled and fought alone. Su Wanzhao turned all the way. The psychological decision was like thunder. Sacrificing part to save the whole. Formula correction was injected into the source of the wave. and the first line of reversal was the second catastrophe. But the red light of the energy wave has gathered Zila, and the curtain of death in low orbit has begun again. The edge of reversal, the abyss of despair. The escape ship's nano-engine boomed all over the place, the blue flames tore through the black screen and broke away, the silver shark pine hook care spun solo, the debris rain cracked like knives, the team's roar was boiling and desperate. Doctor's conspiracy. Counter the alien wave? Lu Ting cried, I'm top of it. The beast's energy wave was fully charged and pulsating, and the 47 core Gulu beat wildly, ticking like a death scythe for 54 hours, and the second collapse collapsed as soon as it hit. The red glow of the energy bursts like the heart of the planet, the bang tears through the black curtain of low orbit, the torrent of hot metal slurry sweeps over the ice sheet like a solar storm. The 47 Arctic Rift Valley 10,000-meter abyss spews sulfur black clouds galoo. Wrapped in red-hot fragments bang bang smashing. The loneliness of space instantly turns into a sea of plasma. The defecting cruisers were the first to bear the brunt. The hull shields of the 5 Blue Gang engines flashed like melting candles, and metal juice splashed and condensed into ice crystals. Projections of the crew flashed and screamed intermittently. Energy wave planetary class. The deck is peeling off, my bones are broken. Melt. Doctor, help. A main engine boom, imploded and the orange fireball expanded. The debris hit the low orbit clanged song like a star belt. The smell of ionized and burnt meat hit your nostrils. The third black wave of mechanical bugs, buzz penetrated into the crack and bit the steel frame. The escape ship's nano-blue flame engine was fully overloaded and dived through the darkness, but was swept away by the remaining force of the wave. The bulkhead was bent and deformed, and the nanoskin peeled off and hissed. Hot molten metal juice splashed on Tang Yue's white robe. The sweat, blood and frost on her face burned like needle pricks. The sulfur ash at the end of her nose was mixed with scorched earth and smelly iron hooks to tear out her lungs. The arcs on her fingertips wrapped around the crystals and flashed blue and green veins wildly. Mu Xue smashed the auxiliary desk with an iron hook with one arm. Bang! His bloody face was distorted and the nanogauze red crystal shattered and leaked blood. Sisters! The heat sink exploded, the cabin pressure was reduced by 30%, and the engineering team sealed the cabin. The engineers' eyes were wide with blood. Their teeth chattered and they curled up with their heads in their hands. One person's nosebleed spurted out and hit the floor with a splat, with despair in his eyes like a dead fish. Landdog, the alien cannon demon. The escape ship was smashed, my heart and lungs were burned. The doctor and the military god couldn't bear it, and the whole Federation collapsed for the second time. Another engineer punched the bulkhead with a boom, and the sound was like broken ice. The energy wave level of the giant beast is crushing. The silver shark is dead. The 47 Earth core grunt is beating. It will become 30 in 54 hours, it's over. Lin Fan Tianqiong's silver shark detached itself and spun around. The remaining engine died and the shield zero flank melted down. The insect corpses smashed through the deck like a hail of knives. The aftermath of the energy wave hit the stern side with a boom. The bridge projected a burly iron-blooded body twitching. The whisker shadow shook and sprayed blood on its lips. Doctor. The silver shark's spine is broken. I'm injured and the missile is blocked. The muzzle has failed. The insect swarm has completely wiped out the track. Hold on. The screams of the crew echoed in the background. Captain's blood. The deck collapsed, the debris pierced the heart, and the heat wave steamed the lungs. The silver shark shook Kara and spiraled into the debris belt. The metal impact clang echoed in silence. The black screen of space reflected the orange-red flames, and the heat and stench blurred the projection. Mu Xue screamed and held on to the terminal with one arm. Brother Lin is iron-blooded. I sacrificed the engineering team to stabilize the ship, and the nanobees sealed the heat and cracked it. The 3 engineers roared with bloody faces. Mu Xun's order. Let's seal it. They rushed towards the crack, hissing, the melting mouth, the nano-yarn spray nourishing wrapped around the body. The sulfur ash hit the face and instantly evaporated into a red mist. The screams of "ah" were intermittent and the stench of burnt flesh and blood rushed into the cabin. The remaining engineers stared wide-eyed, trembling and burst into tears. Brother sacrifice. Which Mu Xue is ruthless. She fights bloody battles to stabilize the ship. My heart can't bear it. The cabin pressure of the escape ship was barely stable. The blue flame engine pulsated unsteadily boom, and the rain of debris pop was like a death sickle scraping nanometer skin. Tang Yue's eyes were burning, his white robe dyed gray fluttering like a war flag. The prototype of the new injector dancing on his fingertips resonated with the buzzing of the crystal backup. The revised version of the ancient rune blue vein record collision formula rushed into his mind, and the psychological balance was like thunder. The sacrifice was extreme, the energy wave backlash risk formula was unstable. The main force of the land dogs was 80 ships, but the ruins AI's red eye. Pulsating third wave of mechanical insect black tide only penetrated the orbit. Su Wan's black account's entire parliament was intensified a close fight. Mu Xue Lin Fan cover. Su Wan scares the beast to self-destruct. I rushed to the flagship to counterattack the alien debris with resonance. The voice cracked the cabin with cold light, and the nano-control stick wrapped around her fingers like a living snake with electric arcs. She pushed the fully overloaded blue flame boom straight towards the belly of the beast's flagship with a bulging red vein. The remaining bloody face of the engineer widened in an O shape, and he trembled with ecstasy. Doctor rushes into the giant beast, close to the witch, defying the heavens. The land dog cries for daddy, my blood boils. Mu Xue hit the keys with blood beads on one arm. Sisters are unparalleled. I am afraid of 50% of the energy wave frequency code. Lin Fan bite the flank. Lin Fan's projection cracked with laughter. Mastermind. The remaining silver shark missiles seal the swarm of insects. Escort them. Su Wan's dark image cut in, hacking into the self-destruct system. 30% of the quantum lock was broken. All 10 blue party ships defected, overwhelming the beast with firepower. The blue flames of the escape ship tore through the low-orbit black curtain. The debris ring chong chong hit the bulkhead and shook the teeth. The behemoth flagship shield dropped 15% of the particle net intermittently. Half of the star-destroying cannon was paralyzed and the red light flashed. Tang Yue locked the alien remnant in the abdomen. The red veins of the crystal buzzed. The nanoneedle hissed, pierced the injector prototype. The blue-green force field pulse expanded 1,000 meters outside the cabin. Collision. The formula corrects the resonance backlash. The energy wave's red light pulsates when it is fully charged and Zila starts again. But encountering a blue vein collision, boom, explodes the hot metal mist. The behemoth's deck bends and deforms. Lu Ting's party members' engineering projections are distorted. Counter? Formula witch crystal. The level difference is reversed. The shield drops by 40%. The escape ship shakes with a boom on the edge of the wave. The heat wave burns the cabin. Zila peels off more skin. The ozone-scorched earth assaults the nostrils of the mixed blood mist. But the eternal blue flame hits the side of the behemoth and bang, the nano-hook locks the steel frame. The cabin door hissed open. Tang Yue's white robe fluttered and jumped out of the vacuum. The blue light of the nanogauze body protection pulsated. The rain of fragments rubbed against the molten ice crystals. The electric dancing crystals on her fingertips' backup thrust field glided on the behemoth deck. The loneliness of space reflected the sulfur-black clouds pressing down on the low orbit, and the 47 Earth cores muffled the Arctic Rift Valley volcanic ash columns. Secondary explosion boom into the sky. The holographic projection of Lu Ting's livid face faced him with a grin. The witch is willing to die? In the heart of the giant beast, I keep the alien fragments privately. The formula is out of control and chain 10-star ashes. The hegemony is in my bag. The Parliament bug's black account is fake. The quantum signature is fake. But Tang Yuehan's eyes locked on him. The data in his eyes was torrential, and all the quantum evidence of Su Wan's black account exploded like a virus. The stolen fragments were planted in the back door to destroy 47. All the ghost communications in the transfer track have been exposed. You are a sinner of the Federation. Lu Ting's veins exploded, and the adjutant's projection glared and trembled. Sir, the evidence is solid. I will not follow the Star Destroyer demon. Vote for Tang Yue. The internal alarm of the beast beeped, and Su Wan remotely hacked into the self-destruction system. The red tide rolled. 60%. The self-destruction countdown starts. The energy wave backfires the crystal. Mu Xue's one-armed banging hand was burnt to death in the cabin. Sisters are close to each other. The frequency code is 70%. The energy wave is paralyzing, and the black tide of mechanical insects backfires, and the behemoth deck is buzzing and drilling into the deck. Lin Fan's Silver Shark single-rotating missile's red track sealed the insect swarm with a whoosh, and the injured Ironblood roared, "Escort! Switch sides!" The 10 golden laser ships boom, pressed against the giant beast's shield and created sparks. The rest of the engineers held their heads and roared in admiration. Tang Shen is fighting land dogs in close combat. Su Hai destroys the demon, Mu Xue defies the sky. Captain Lin's remaining blood bites insects, we win. The giant beast's flagship shook the Kara Kara deck and raised it. The red vein crystal buzzed and burst into flames, and the hot plasma sprayed hissing and scorched the sky. Tang Yue slid close to Lu Ting's holographic core. The nanoneedle hissed into the console, and the modified version of the formula blue veins was injected with alien fragments. Resonance suppression. The back door collapsed, and the energy wave was completely reversed. Lu Ting Taiching twisted and roared, "Stop! I'm escaping from my home planet. The Federation's general attack will crush you into cosmic dust." The silhouette flickered and escaped. The private shuttle's golden light engine boomed, tore through the black screen and escaped. The loneliness of space swallowed up the red rail, and the party members collapsed. "Escape, sir? 80% self-destruction. Abandon the ship." Su Wan's image turned pale and sweaty. "Self-destruction starts. Doctor injected, the formula is stable." Tang Yue electronically danced on her fingertips and pushed the prototype of the new injector. The crystal backup ancient rune record activated the blue-green veins buzz to expand to planetary levels. The glue of E-47's core slowed down. The volcanic ash column in the Arctic rift shrank with boom. The black clouds and sulfur heat waves dissipated. The blue light force field of the atmosphere was reshaped and pulsated in low orbit. New oxygen mist was reflected in the loneliness of the space debris ring. The red AI of the ruins of the fortress module pulsated and died, and the black tide of mechanical insects buzzed to death and burrowed into the ground. In the escape cabin, Mu Xue's one arm was limp and she smiled bloodily. "Sisters, stable. Second collapse reverses. Formula God." The engineer burst into tears and hugged the group and shouted, "Doctor is close to the land dog. The atmosphere is reborn. I am alive, it's so exciting." Lin Fan's projection was injured and he stood up. "Victory hug. The team is immortal. Tang Yue is the hero of the universe." The crew members in the projection had bloody faces in adoration, eyes as wide as stars. Tang Yue's white robe fluttered back to the cabin. Her sweaty and frosty face reflected the new blue light. The team crowded around and roared with laughter and tears. The nano-engine boomed to stabilize the orbit. The black curtain of low orbit spread out. E-47's new oxygen ring pulsed like a sapphire. But the distant wolf howl of Lu Ting burst out across the frequency range. The witch wins for a moment. The Red Party of the Home Star Council plans a general attack. A cosmic-level encirclement and suppression of hundreds of ships presses the border area, and the formula is recast from the ashes. The division of the council intensified the projection flash, and the Blue Party roared, "The traitor escapes. Tang Yue takes full command, and the Federation is reborn." The heat wave subsided, the new ozone breath rushed into the cabin, the chill and the aftertaste of victory returned, and the cosmic storm was about to explode. In the black screen of low orbit, the blue light of the E-47's regenerated oxygen ring pulses like a trembling heart. The boom of the nano-blue flame engine stabilizes the pressure in the escape ship's cabin. The smell of new ozone gas mixed with sulfur hits the nostrils. The lingering aftertaste of the team's blood, sweat, and tears embrace, but the full frequency of the projection is like the beep-beep of the death sickle blade piercing the brain and exploding. Lu Ting's wolf howl was distorted and his livid face was magnified 100 times, and the orbital projection of the red light engine array of the Red Party's hundreds of ships flashed. Which bug? 47 Oasis illusion. My Red Party's general attack crushed the border area. The formula rebuilt the hegemony of the universe, and the rebellion of the Blue Party in the parliament was completely wiped out. The captain of the Jinghong Party smiled ferociously with bloody eyes. Master Lu has an iron fist. Tang Yue, that bitch, reversed his course for a moment. The remnants of the party's cruisers pressed forward, and the silver shark debris was mined. I'll grab the border mineral veins. The engineer's bloody face instantly turned pale, and he punched the bulkhead with a cracking sound, a trembling sound of despair. Lu go by ships? Only 10 ships of the Blue Party have defected. Our project is still alive. The E-47 Oasis has just been born. The second general attack on the Earth has exploded again. The doctor can't stand it. Mu Xue grabbed the terminal with an iron hook and said, "Sisters, the Red Party's quantum lock mother planet, come to the rescue. The army is destroyed, the nanoswarm is empty, and the risk of heat sink explosion is 90%. Lin Fan's burly body was shaken with injuries, blood dripping from the corners of his lips as he hit the deck. Hold on, the wreckage of the Silver Shark is stalling for time, but the red light of the 100-ship destroying star cannon is fully charged, and the level is crushing, and my heart and lungs are burned out." Tang Yue's white robe was stained with gray and fluttering like a death flag. The electric arc on her fingertips sizzled around the prototype of the new injector. The ancient rune blue vein recorded data flooded her mind. The fire in her eyes suppressed the cold light. The new oxygen in her nose was scorched and the iron hook was tearing out her lungs. She slammed the full-frequency communication bang. Her voice cracked like thunder. "Lu Ting is rebellious." The Black Account Quantum Evidence Parliament was fully exposed. The Red Party's ambition to destroy 10 stars, the border surrendered? The Blue Party fought back with an iron fist. But in response to the projection, only the Blue Party was divided and the livid face hesitated. Dr. Tang is a hero, but the Red Party is powerful. The Home Star Parliament suppresses the evidence, and reinforcements will take time. The Red Party sneered like a flood. "Bitch. A self-destructing monster?" The 20 Red Gang engines of the remnants of the party locked the 47 low orbit. The star-destroying cannon warmed up, and the Oasis turned into a sea of fire. The escape ship's alarm flashed wildly, and the Red Gang beam swished against the bulkhead and the melted nanoskin sizzled, and the debris rain intensified like a knife. Scratching, the engineer hugged his head and huddled up in tears. "Doctor, hundreds of ships are crushing me. My bones are broken and my heart is dead. The 47 regeneration oxygen ring is shattered, and the formula is ashes." Mu Xue's blood dripped on one arm, and the nanogauze red crystal shattered and leaked blood. The heat wave steamed the lungs. The sisters evacuated? The Red Party's quantum network is blocked. The escape ship's engine pulse is weak. It's over. The loneliness of space reflects the array of red lights. The new green mist of the 47 Arctic rift pulses on the surface, and the blue light of the oxygen ring has just condensed, but the remnant cruiser dives boom. The metallic hot slurry tail flame sweeps the low-orbit Zila, and the scorching oxygen mist evaporates, and the star-destroying cannon's orange-red light buzz locks on the ruins of the fortress module. Lin Fan's Silver Shark single-rotation engine roared Kara, and the red rail of the missile sealed a wave with a whoosh, but was backfired by the particle net and boom. The flanks were melted and the fireball exploded. Captain's blood spurts. Debris is piercing the heart. The shield is zero. The Red Party is crushing me to pieces. The screams of the projection crew echoed, and the smell of burnt meat filled their nostrils. Su Wan's dark image cut into a pale and trembling voice. "Doctor, only 20% of the home planet's intelligence network has been hacked. The Red Party's insiders are encrypted. Lu Ting manipulates the multi-star formula backdoor. The ruling conspiracy is incomplete. The Blue Party hesitates and has zero allies. The team's despair is like a black hole swallowing it, and the engineer's nose bleeds and his eyes dead. Hero of the universe? The Red Party's level is suppressed. E-47's Oasis dream is shattered. The doctor's sacrifice was in vain. I committed suicide to apologize." Tang Yue's face was stung with sweat, blood, and ice, and the psychological balance was overturned. The formula was only partially stable. The Red Party's 100 ships were quantum locked. The team's blood was left, and the Parliament was divided on the verge of total annihilation. A sudden beep sounded at full frequency, and the projection in the main hall of the Home Stars Parliament was like a starburst. The leader of the Blue Party stood up with blood-eyed eyes. "The Black Account is all over." Su Wan hacked into the core of the Red Party. Lu Ting stole alien fragments and planted a 10-star backdoor, destroyed E-47 to test the waters, hegemony of the border mineral veins, and ironclad evidence of quantum trajectories. The senior official of the Red Party was livid and twisted. "Fake. The Blue Party is rebellious and is attacking E-47. But the evidence exploded like a virus, and all the ghosts in the transfer communication were exposed. The officials in the hall had bloody faces and screamed in a trembling voice. Lu Ting is a traitor. The Star Destroyer. The Congress will destroy the Red Party. The leader of the Blue Party smashed his scepter. Bang! Tang Yue was promoted to Federal Admiral. He has full command of the new fleet of 50 ships. The Blue Party has turned against the Remnant Party, and the heroes of the universe have protected the border area. A flood of admiration poured in from all channels. Admiral Tang Yue, the formula which defies heaven, the 47 oasis is born, and the Red Party is ashes. Engineer the remaining blood filled his eyes and burst into tears, and he punched his chest. Dong dong. Admiral Doctor? The Parliament worshipped. The Blue Party overwhelmed the Red Party with 50 ships. My blood boiled and I was resurrected. It was so exciting. Mu Xue smashed the keys with an iron hook with one arm and was ecstatic. Sister General, the nanomedical bee is activated. I have recovered and upgraded my weapons. The Red Party is crying. E47 surface metamorphosis accelerates. The blue light of the new oxygen ring pulsates and expands. The green mist of the rift condenses the soil layer Galu. The desolate icefield melts the oasis veins. The AI blue eyes of the ruins of the fortress module wake up and project. The formula is stable, the oasis attracts allies, and the 10 ships of the Border Mine Alliance have arrived. The golden engines of the Alliance fleets boom, tore through the black curtain and merged. The low-orbit oxygen mist reflected the Blue Party's 50-ship laser array, and the nano-blue flame pulsed like a sea of stars. The nano-bee in Mu Xue's medical cabin buzzed and wrapped one arm, and the red crystal shattered and the flesh and blood regenerated and nourished. She jumped out with a bloody smile. Admiral Sisters. Weapon system upgrade. Quantum cannon resonance formula blue vein. Level reversal Red Party star-destroying cannon. Lin Fan Sky Dome rebuilds the Silver Shark engine and roars again. Injured Iron Blood stand up straight. Admiral's plan. The fleet is reborn. I am the vanguard and bite the remaining party members. Su Wan's image evaporated with sweat and she was ecstatic. The home planet network was completely destroyed. Lu Ting's cosmic conspiracy was exposed. Manipulating the back door of the 15-star formula with the intention of dominating the star field. The Red Party split 30% and surrendered, and the black account virus spread throughout the Federation. The red-on engines of the 20 remaining cruisers of the Red Party roared wildly. The orange-red beams of the star-destroying cannons swept the oxygen rings and Zilla, evaporated the green mist, and Lu Ting's private shuttle projected a wolf howling behind him. Admiral bitch? The Remnant Party suppressed the 47 base. The Oasis was in a sea of fire, and the remaining Alien Alliance counterattacked. But the Blue Party's 50 golden laser boom array locked up, and Mu Xue upgraded the quantum cannon to launch the blue vein buzz resonance formula. The red light bang exploded into a sea of hot metal, and the remnant's shield sizzled and melted like wax. Level reversal. Admiral Tang's weapon demon. The Red Party's deck peeled off, my bones melted. The Red Party captain's bloody face twisted and trembled. Master Lu. The quantum cannon planetary class, my engine imploded, surrender. The main gun of a cruiser cracked and bent, and the hot plasma spray hissed and wrapped the debris rain pop to hit the low orbit, and the stench of burnt metal hit the lonely space. Admiral Tang Yue's white robes turned to silver armor and nanopulsations. The fingertips danced electronically with the command pole ZZ. The new fleet's blue flames tore through the black screen and dived. Fire all guns. The formula blue vein suppresses the back door of the remnants. Lin Fan Silver Shark leads the Vanguard missile's red track whoosh to seal the engine. Allies 10 the golden particle net of the ship buzzed and surrounded the Remnant Party, and Mu Xue's quantum cannon fired boom boom boom, and the red cruiser array collapsed with the clacra. The deck bulged and cracked, and a torrent of hot slurry swept across. The crew's projection screamed intermittently. Admiral's divine punishment. The shield is zero, my heart and lungs are burning. Lu Dog sells his teammates. Su Wan remotely hacked into the remnant's quantum lock beep, and burst into flames. The back door collapsed and the engine self-destructed. Lu Ting's shuttle boat was enlarged with a livid projection, and his eyes were filled with despair and regret. Stop. I was wrong, the formula's back door destroys the star's ambition. Regret. The council spares my life, and the border area surrenders to General Tang. But the last wave of the Blue Party's laser boom peeled off the shuttle boat shield, popped the metal juice condensed into ice crystals. Boom, the engine imploded, the orange fireball expanded, and the loneliness of space swallowed up the red track. In the pulsating blue light of the low-orbit oxygen ring, the remnant party was wiped out and the debris ring clang reverberated. The green mist on the surface of the E-47 oasis expanded and the soil veins were like a new continent. Allied fleets worshipped the projected flood. Admiral Tang Yue. Reversal of the Red Party, the oasis is immortal. The heroes of the universe salute. The engineer burst into tears and hugged the group and roared. Admiral wins the land dog, Mu Xue recovers the cannon. Lin Fan rebuilds with iron and blood. Suwan fears the internet demon. We live, it's so exciting. Mu Xue's new hook flashed with blue veins, and she embraced Tang Yue with a bloody smile. Sister Admirals, the weapon system formula is linked. The Red Party is ashes. Lin Fan stood up tall with a wounded smile. Victory hug. The new fleet is immortal. Suwan's image turned pale and rosy. The conspiracy is fully exposed. The Federation is reborn. The team roared and laughed. The nano-engine boom tears stabilized the orbit, and the new oxygen breath washed away the burnt odor. Tang Yue leaned over the prototype machine and put the tip of her nose against the transistor. The blue veins trembled like a heartbeat in the palm of her hand. She injected the data stream. Alien noise, not garbled code, is the key to the ruins. Resonance amplification, suppression of formula defects. The full version requires source data. The simulation operation roared, buzzing, and the green fog spread on the surface of the projected E-47. The core pressure plummeted to 60%, and the 68-hour countdown slowed down to 72 hours. Mu Xue's eyes widened, and the welding gun hit the ground with a clang. Doctor, complete simulation? 50% greening. I forgot all about the pain in my arm. This formula is so nerve-wracking. The engineer gasped, and one of them punched his chest. The blue light of the low-orbit oxygen ring is like the slow pulsation of the heart of a giant beast. The green mist-condensed soil veins on the surface of the E-47 oasis are winding like new blood vessels. The clang-clang impact of the Red Party fragment ring is gradually weakening. The low roar of the nano-blue flame engine stabilizes the pressure in the escape ship cabin in the loneliness of space, and the fresh oxygen breath is mixed with the light sulfur aftertaste to wash away the smell of burnt meat. The engineer's bloody face turned rosy, and the nanomedical bees buzzed, and wrapped the wounds with red crystal flesh and reborn sizzling. They hugged each other with tears and laughter and punched the bulkhead dong-dong. Their voices trembled and they burst into admiration.
Admiral Tang Yue Wusung.
The Red Party's hundreds of ships were reduced to ashes, and the Lu Dog shuttle exploded into slag. We have lived through hell, eternal life in the oasis, and worshipping the universe is heart-pounding. Mu Xue's new hook flashed with blue vein nano-brilliance, and she jumped out of the medical cabin with a bloody smile and embraced Tang Yue's silver armor. Sister General, quantum cannon linkage formula planetary level. The Red Party deck is stripped naked and crying. I am recovering from the disease. Arm, I will follow you to the death. Lin Fan's burly and injured body of the sky dome stood up straight. The Silver Shark engine roared again and the flanks repaired. Boom. The bloody lips wiped away the cracked smile. Victory hug. The Admiral's plan, I will lead the vanguard and crush the remaining party. The fleet will not be destroyed, and the new border minister will be born. Take it. Suwan's image turned pale and rosy, her sweat evaporated and she pumped her fists ecstatically. The black virus has spread throughout the Federation. All the back doors of Lu Ting's 15 stars have collapsed. The Red Party has split and surrendered, and the Parliament has an ironclad order. General Tang will rule the border mineral veins, with unlimited resources, and all official projects are given the green light. Tang Yue's silver armor pulsated with nanometers like living star armor, and the electric arc on her fingertips wrapped around the prototype of the new injector. The torrent of ancient runes and blue vein data gathered in her mind calmly. The fire in her eyes turned to a warm and cold light, and the new oxygen breath hit her face with coldness, tearing her lungs and healing. She tapped the command stick to project full frequency 50 ships of the Blue Party. The golden array of lasers worshipped the low orbit. Come in. E-47 Oasis transformation accelerates. The Fortress AI awakens and the 10 Alliance ships gather together. The treasures of the border veins are yours. The alien crystal veins are buried deep in the Arctic rift, and the Formula Blue veins have unlimited upgrades. The ally captain's projected blood eyes widened trembling. He hit the deck with his fist. Bang! Heroic Admiral! Our Mineral Vein Alliance donated thousands of tons of crystal samples. The weapons arsenal upgrade formula resonance. The Red Party's dream is shattered. The border area will be forever worshipped. The engineer wiped away the nosebleed. His eyes turned deathly gray. And the sparks were burning wildly, holding his head and shouting, Crystal Treasure Mountain? Admiral, win the world in one battle. Cosmos, the residual blood of my project is reborn. I water the soil veins of the oasis with my own hands. It's so satisfying that my bones explode. The nanobuzzer in the cabin repaired the cracks in the heat sink wall. The blue light of the medical cabin wrapped the team's wounds, blood, sweat and tears, ozone and new breath transpired, and the aftertaste of victory slowly penetrated the black hole of despair like a warm current. The AI blue eye projection on the surface of the ruins of the fortress module expands. The green mist soil layer Galu expands the Arctic Rift Valley. The blue light of the oxygen ring condenses into the atmospheric dome, and the loneliness of space reflects the veins of the oasis like the awakening of the Emerald Continent. Tang Yue's silver armor trembled slightly, and the blue veins from the fingertip injector were injected into the core of the fortress. Steady expansion. Crystal vein mining started. AI blue eyes pulse back. Admiral's formula magic. Oasis self-healing rate 200%. Vein crystal purification nanobees are in transit. Energy purity 99.9%. Weapons upgrade. The level potential is off the charts. Mu Xue grabbed the terminal with a click, and Xue Xiao scanned the data. Sisters, the crystal-linked quantum cannon. The level is catching up with the mother planet and destroying the star fortress. The back door of the Red Party will be sealed forever. Lin Fan's Sky Dome engine patrolled low orbit. The missile cabin was loaded with red rails flashing. The mine treasures are flowing in. I am protected by the Silver Shark luck. The border area will be reborn and immortal. Su Wan's remote hacking network projection flashed. Council commendation. Admiral Tang's exclusive starship Blue Vein is launched. The fleet of 50 ships is expanded to 100 ships. The status is almost equal to that of the speaker. Lu Ting's black account assets are transferred to your name, and the legend of the hero of the universe will be forever engraved. The flood of worship from all channels poured in. Lon the party leader's livid face turned to tears of admiration. Admiral, the E47 Oasis template is promoted across the Federation. The 10-star transformation is given the green light, and resources are poured into the Federation. The engineers roared in a group, their eyes widened and trembling. The reputation of status treasures has been wiped out? Admiral wins the Empire in one battle, and we all feel great after drinking soup with him. Soothing victory is like a green mist that slowly wraps around the low orbit. The nano-blue flame engine hums. The team washes away their blood and sweat and changes into silver armor uniforms. The medical buzzer buzzes to seal the cabin, and the pure breath of new oxygen dissipates the sulfuric odor. Tang Yue's silver-armored station cabin window overlooks the winding veins of the oasis, and the psychological balance is pouring out the fruits of victory. His fame shocks the universe. His status will dominate the border areas. His crystal treasure mountain formula can be upgraded infinitely, and trivial matters such as ship maintenance and mining are in order. However, the sudden beep in the full frequency range stung the brain. The pulsation of the alien's remaining red-eye projection was magnified 100 times. The fourth black wave of mechanical bugs buzzed. As it penetrated the Earth's core and made a muffled gurgling explosion in the valley, and the sulfur-black cloud billowed again and the oxygen ring hissed, corroding the blue light. The engineer's bloody face instantly turned pale, and he hit the window with his fist. Boom, trembling and despairing. The alien's red eyes have reawakened? The mechanical bug Kuroshio drilled the core of the Earth. The soil veins of the oasis were shattered. The crystal veins were destroyed. And they were just refreshed and then completely destroyed. Mu Xue's hook terminal crackled, and blood beads ticked on one arm. Sisters, the quantum frequency of the insect wave has been upgraded. The nano defense network's heatsink has exploded by 90%. And the blue eyes of the fortress AI have flashed. Ask for help. The oasis dream is broken. Lin Fan's projection shook, and the corners of his injured lips were bloodshot. I can't hold on. The black tide metal hot plasma tail flames sweep into the low orbit. My silver shark shield is 0, and the insect swarm level is overwhelming the fleet. Su Wan's image was pale and sweaty. hacking into the remnant network. Lu Ting planted the final plan before his death, detonating the black hole of the home star orbital station, swallowing the entire border area. The Red-Eye AI Alliance counterattacks the E-47 weapons arsenal. The loneliness and coldness of space explodes. The smell of black clouds and sulfur hits the cabin and stings the nose and lungs. The Earth's core explodes with a bang, and the green mist of the Rift Valley evaporates. The black tide of mechanical bugs with red eyes buzz and collide with the low-orbit metal shell, and the rain of debris hits the oxygen ring with a pop, and the blue light dims. The Blue Party Fleet's 50-ship Golden Laser Array projected hesitantly. Admiral, insect swarming planetary class. The star-destroying cannon cannot be warmed up enough. Withdraw. The golden particle network of the 10th Ally ship tried to seal Buzz, but was melted by the hot slurry-tail flame Zila. The captain's bloody eyes twisted and screamed, "Level crushing! The crystal veins cannot be defended. Stay the sea of fire in the oasis. My bones are melting and my heart is rotting." The team's despair is like a black hole swallowing it again. The engineer crouched with his head and burst into tears, nosebleeds. Hero General? Lu Ting's dead man was behind, and the orbit of the home star destroyed the border area. I committed suicide to apologize. Mu Xue's iron hook trembled. The heat wave steamed my lungs, the defense network collapsed, and the sisters had no way to retreat. Tang Yue's silver armor's nanopulsation burst into blue light. Her fingertips electro-dancing command pole ZZ surged with ancient rune data. Her eyes were warm and cold, and the fire burned into the sky. She slammed the full-frequency bang. The thunder cracked the space. Lin Fan led 50 ships of the Sky Dome to tear through the black clouds and sealed the insect tide. Mu Xue's defense network quantum cannon linked to the crystal blue veins, and the Fortress AI protected the mineral veins. Suwon intercepted Lu Ting in the end. The black hole explosion plan paralyzes the enemy's command. Lin Fan responded with a burly and iron-blooded roar. "Come on, General!" The Silver Shark roared to lead the way, and the missile's red track whizzed to block it. The Sky Dome's engine boomed to tear through the loneliness and dived. The golden array of lasers in the black clouds and sulfur exploded. Boom! The mechanical insect red-eyed cluster collided with the particle network, Kara, and exploded. Metal juice hissed and splashed, and the space reflected a sea of fireballs. Mu Xue's new hook hit the key click. The quantum cannon resonant crystal blue vein buzzed, launched a star impact, swept away the black tide bang. The hot slurry evaporated. The insect shells melted like wax rain pop. She smiled, twisted with blood. The defense network is upgraded. The formula suppresses the red-eye frequency. The oasis is not broken. The engineer stared round and burst into tears. Mu Xue's divine cannon? The insect tide melts, and I am resurrected with blood boiling. Tang Yue personally led the commando team with silver armor nanopulsation. The injector prototype blue vein was injected into the escape ship engine. Boom. The blue flames tore through the black clouds and rushed towards the alien weapons depot in the Arctic Rift. The mechanical insect guard red-eyed Buzz besieged the hot slurry tail flame Zila and rubbed the armor with molten nanoskin. The assault engineer's bloody face turned pale and trembled. "Admiral! The insect swarm is tens of millions, the level is piercing, and the ore road is sealed." But an arc exploded at Tang Yue's fingertips. Formula blue vein resonance, crystal injection. The prototype ZZ surged with energy. The red-eye core of the arsenal pulsated dimly and cracked. The torrent of metal-hot plasma imploded and swept through the insect swarm, and the debris rained down on the green mist shield of the Rift Valley. Suwon's image flashed wildly, intercepted Lu Ting's final result. 30 minutes countdown to the explosion of the black hole in the orbital station, paralyzing the command AI. She remotely hacked into the red-eye network beep to explode into a red tide, and the backdoor collapsed and the insect swarm was chaotic and buzzing to eat itself. The red track of Lin Fan's Tianqiong missile sealed the main wave with a whoosh, and the Mu Xue quantum cannon fired boom, boom, boom. And the black clouds and sulfur evaporated and the blue light shone brightly again. The shadow of the Red-On shuttle suddenly appeared in the depths of the sudden weapons depot. Lu Ting's phantom was distorted and enlarged, and the blue veins in his eyes were bursting with regret and turning into madness.
Tang Yue beat?
Before I die, I cloned a red-eye, so I risked my own personal battle. The black hole in the orbit of my home star exploded and was buried with me in the border area. The shuttle Shadow's red-on engine boomed to lock Tang Yue's commando team, and the star-destroying needle's orange-red light buzzed stung his brain. The engineer held his head and screamed. The land dog clone is resurrected? A decisive battle with the general. The level will crush us. Mu Xue's defensive line projection shouted urgently. Sisters, be careful. The black hole explosion chain is locked. But the blue veins of Tang Yue's silver armor exploded, and the fingertip injector pierced the core of the shuttle Shadow. The ultimate formula correction. Blue vein swallows the red-eye backdoor. The electric arc sizzles and the shuttle engine implodes. Boom. The orange fireball expands and the metal juice splashes. Pop. Lu Ting's clone wolf howls distorted. Regret? Ambition is gray. The border is yours. The afterimage shatters and the red light scatters into the loneliness of space. The Kuroshio collapses. Kara Kara. The muffled sound of the Earth's core stops. The green mist soil veins are reborn and expanded, and the blue light pulsation of the oxygen ring accelerates. Lin Fan's projection burst into laughter. Admiral, personally destroy the clone. My main attack is completely victorious. Mu Xue's new hook flashed. The defense network is intact. The divine battle is exciting. Suwon waved her fist. The black hole is paralyzed. The orbital station is safe. The ally captain's eyes widened with blood and he shivered in worship. Admiral Tang double-killed Lu Ting. Red eyes ashes. Crystal veins increase double the gift. The universe pays homage. The engineers burst into tears and shouted together. The aftermath is a great harvest. The oasis is permanent. The reputation of the status treasure is doubled. And we are living a myth. The team burst into laughter and tears. New oxygen breath rushed into the capsule. The nano-engine hummed to stabilize the orbit. But there was a faint beep in the full frequency. The unknown red light flashed in the deep space of the home star. And the aftermath of the space storm continued. The blue light of the low-orbit oxygen ring pulsates like the heart of a giant beast. The veins of green mist soil on the surface of the 47 oasis wind and expand. The outline of the new continent emerges sharply. The clang-clang sound of the red party fragment ring dissipates. The nano-blue flame engine roars and cruises in the loneliness of space. The new oxygen breath of victory is slightly sweet and tangy with crystal mineral dust, washing away the residual smell of sulfur-burnt meat. The engineer's bloody face turned red and tears shone. He punched the bulkhead. Dong dong. His voice trembled and he burst into admiration. Admiral Tang, you killed the land dog clone twice. The oasis is a permanent crystal treasure mountain. We climbed out of hell. The legend of the universe hero. It feels so good that my heart, lungs and bone marrow are bursting. Mu Xue's new hook blue vein nanometer light flashes, and she embraces Tang Yue's silver armor with a bloody smile. Sisters fight with each other to destroy the shuttle Shadow, and the quantum cannon linkage formula planetary level suppresses the red eye. My new arm will protect you to the death, and I will worship you forever in the border area. Lin Fan's sky dome projected a tall and iron-blooded figure and stood upright. The silver shark engine roared again and the missile's red track flashed, and the bloody lips were wiped away with a smile. Victory embrace. The Admiral's divine plan leads me to crush the black tide. The fleet is immortal, and the new star field surrenders. Exit. Suwon's image was rosy and she was shaking her fist in ecstasy. The black virus engulfed the Federation. Lu Ting's clone was finally paralyzed, and the Council issued an ironclad order. Admiral Tang will control all the mineral deposits in the border area, and the Blue Vein starship will be launched with 100 escorts, and the resources will be overwhelming the universe. Tang Yue's silver armor was pulsing like a living galaxy. The arc at her fingertips was sizzling around the prototype of the new injector. Ancient runes and Blue Vein data were flowing into her mind. The fire in her eyes suppressed the cold light in the deep space. She tapped the command stick to project full frequency, and the Blue Party's 100 laser gold ships Huangli Array worshipped the low-orbit dive. Come in. E-47 Oasis template launches 10-star transformation. Crystal purification is 99.9% in transit. Fortress AI self-healing 300%. Weapon arsenal upgrade destroys stars. The ally captain's projected blood eyes widened and trembled. Punched the deck bang bang. Wiped the nosebleeds and roared. Heroic admirals double kill red eyes. Our Mineral Vein Alliance donated tens of thousands of crystals. The particle network resonance formula Blue Veins. The level is directly catching up with the Mother Star Fortress. The red party's ashes will be sealed forever. The nanomedical bees in the cabin buzzed, the red crystals sealing the wounds, and flesh and blood are reborn, sizzling. The team hugs each other and laughs in tears. The new ozone breath evaporates. The warm current of victory soaks into the black hole of despair. The green mist soil layer glue. The Arctic rift veins pulsate with blue light. And the oxygen ring blue light condenses in the atmospheric dome to reflect the awakening of the emerald continent in space. The soothing aftertaste is like a green mist that slowly wraps around the low rail. The nanoblue flame engine hums to stabilize the voltage. The team's silver armor uniforms are replaced with new ones and washed with blood and sweat. The medical buzzer buzzes to evacuate the cabin, and the sweet breath of new oxygen crystals is pure and fragrant to drive away the residual odor. Tang Yue station cabin window overlooks the winding vanes, and the psychological balance is pouring out the results. The reputation is shocking in the universe. The status of the general in the border area is close to the chairman. The Crystal Treasure Mountain formula is infinitely upgraded, and the resources of the Blue Vein starship are poured into the Federation. But the sudden beep beep beep, in the full frequency range, stabbed the brain like needles. The red light explosion in the deep space of the home star was magnified 1,000 times. The black hole explosion core of the orbital station reverberated with a muffled boom. Lu Ting's final clone projection was livid, twisted, and veins exploded. Mad regret in his eyes turned into a destructive grin. Tang Yue, before I died, I cloned the orbital station 3 times, mother. The black hole of the star exploded and swallowed up all the E-47s in the border area, and the remnant souls of the Red Party fought back against the end of the universe. The black clouds and sulfurous waves rolled into the low orbit and corroded the blue light of the oxygen ring. The 5th wave of black waves of mechanical insects buzzed from the Earth's core, and red-eye clusters rushed into space and hit the metal shells with clang, 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 and the debris rain hit the fleet particle network dimly. The engineer's bloody face instantly turned as white as paper. He crouched with his head and smashed the window with his fist. Dong dong, his nose was bleeding in trembling despair. Landdog triple clone? The orbital station's black hole exploded the mother planet and wiped out the border area. The oasis just woke up and shattered. The crystal veins were in flames. I'll kill myself. Thank you, Admiral. Mu Xue's hook terminal crackled and blood flowed from one arm. Zutita's eyes were filled with gray. Sisters? The quantum frequency of the insect wave has been upgraded twice. The heat sink of the nano defense network has exploded by 95%. The blue eyes of the Fortress AI flashed for help, and there is no way to retreat. Lin Fan's projection shook his wounded and bloodshot lips. I can't hold on. The black hole explosion has a countdown of 10 minutes. The thermal plasma tail flames sweep the sky dome shield to zero. The fleet level was crushed and destroyed. Su Wan's image was pale and sweating like rain, and her voice was trembling. Hacking into the orbital network, Lu Ting's final triple clone Red-Eye AI home star orbit was fully activated. The border area was swallowed up, and the Parliament's Iron Guard hesitated to withdraw the order. The Blue Party's 100 golden laser array projections hesitated and trembled. Admiral! The black hole planet swallowed the level, and the star-destroying cannon failed to warm up enough. E-47's oasis dream was shattered, and it was withdrawn from the outer reaches of the home planet? The golden particle network of the Allied 10th ship was buzzed for testing. The hot slurry melted the deck, and the captain's bloody eyes were twisted and howled. The crystal veins were destroyed, the oasis was cremated, my bones were melted and my heart was broken, and the levels crushed the universe. The team is in despair. The black hole swallows space again, and the loneliness and coldness explodes. Black clouds and sulfur sting the lungs, and the smell hits the nose. The Earth's core glue explodes again. The green mist in the Rift Valley evaporates, and the red-eyed cluster, Buzz, locks the blue pulse prototype. Tang Yue's silver armor's nanopulsation exploded with blue light like a starburst. The electric dance command pole on her fingertips, Zizi, surged with a torrent of ancient rune data. The oppressive cold light in her eyes turned into blazing fire. She slammed the whole frequency bang. The thunder cracked the silence. All the army transferred to the orbital station of the home planet. Lin Fan's sky dome led 100 ships to tear away the black cloud and seal the insect wave. Mu Xue's quantum cannon crystals were linked to block the clone's escape route. Su Wan broadcast the full truth and paralyzed the Red-Eye command. I personally led the blue pulse to escape the orbit. Tau core. Neutralize the black hole explosion formula. Lin Fan roared in response, eyes wide and blood pumping. Follow the general's plan. The silver shark roared again to lead the way. And the missile's red rails whizzed to block the hot slurry. The Sky Dome's engine roared. Boom tore through the loneliness and dived into the orbit of the mother star. The golden array of lasers in the black clouds exploded. Boom, boom, boom. The mechanical insect's red eyes collided with the particle network. Kara kara. Explosive metal juice splashed hiss. And the sea of fireballs reflected in space was hot and pungent. Mu Xue's new hook hit the key crack. The quantum cannon resonant crystal blue vein buzz launched a superplanetary shock wave, and the black tide was swept away. Boom. The hot slurry evaporated the insect shells and melted wax rain. Pop-a-pap. Her bloody smile twisted one arm and trembled. The ultimate upgrade of the anti-net. The formula triples the frequency. The clone's escape route is blocked, and the oasis protects it. The engineer's eyes widened with tears as his nose bleeded and he punched his chest. My blood boils and my sisters are invincible. Su Wan's remote hacking network projection flashed with sweat evaporating. The whole truth is broadcast. Lu Ting's rebellious black account exposed the universe. The clone's triple ambition was gray. The Parliament's Iron Guard turned to the Blue Party, and the Red Eye AI was paralyzed by 50%. The full-frequency flood truth exploded like a virus, and the leader of the Blue Party turned to tears. Su Wan is horrified. The council ordered. Admiral Tang has full control over the orbit of the home planet, and the resources are unlimited to destroy the clone. The Blue Pulse's nano-blue flame engine exploded. Tang Yue personally led the commando's silver-armored pulsation towards the home planet's orbital station. The core of the black hole exploded with orange-red light and buzzed, piercing the brain and making a muffled sound that shocked the soul. Lu Ting's triple clone shuttle Shadow Red Light 3 engines locked in with a boom. The star-destroying needle's orange-red beam was fully charged. Tang Yue is here to die? The black hole swallows the border area. My ambition will live forever. The hot slurry tail flame sizzled, rubbed the blue vein's nanoskin, melted it, and the smell filled the nose. The assault engineer's face turned pale with blood. His legs trembled and he held his head. Admiral, triple clone, the level home star is destroyed. The orbital station is steaming with heat, and the mine road is shattering my bones. The ally captain's projection distorted and screamed. The black hole counts down for 5 minutes. The level-crushing Blue Party is completely destroyed. But the arc at Tang Yue's fingertips exploded and the blue veins danced wildly, and the prototype of the injector pierced the core of the orbit. The ultimate corrective formula. The blue vein swallows the red-eyed black hole and explodes. The electric arc sizzles and the 3 shuttle shadow engines implode. Boom, boom, boom. And the orange-red fireball expands 3 times in a row. The torrent of metal juice sweeps through the red-eye cluster with a snap, bang, bang. And the solitude of space reflects the sea of fire and hot metal rain. Lu Ting's clone turned livid and howled like a wolf with regret. Regret. The formula is unrivaled in blue veins. Ashes of ambition. The borderland is yours. The universe is yours. The 3 afterimages shattered and the red light dispersed into silence. The core of the black hole explosion Kara disintegrated and the energy backfired and evaporated. And the orbital station Nano-B buzzed, self-repairing blue light returned to light. The red track of Lin Fan's Sky Dome missile wiped out all the remaining insects with a swish, swish, swish. Mu Xue's quantum cannon continuously swept boom, 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 boom. And the black clouds and sulfur completely evaporated and the blue vein oxygen ring expanded. Su Wan broadcast the truth. Lu Ting was killed. Admiral Tang went against the will of heaven, and the Federation reorganized E-47's new capital. 100 laser gold ships of the Blue Party lined up in worship, and the captain's bloody eyes widened and trembled and burst into tears. Admiral Tang kissed China and neutralized the black hole, and killed Clolo 3 times. And he is completely victorious. I fully surrender, and the universe worships me. The engineers roared together and wiped away the nosebleeds, sparks burning in their eyes. God fights the triple kill. In the oasis capital of the Crystal Empire, I am reborn with the remaining blood in my veins, and the bone marrow explodes the universe. The blue light pulse of the parent star orbital station is stable. The E-47 oasis soil layer Gulu expands into an emerald continent. The oxygen ring condenses and the atmospheric dome is permanent. The crystal veins Arctic rift blue light transports tens of thousands of tons. The Fortress AI Blue Eye projection expands. Part 1. The formula magic and planetary transformation template will be popularized throughout the Federation. The 10-star green light will self-heal 500%, and the golden age of mankind will begin. The full-frequency Iron Order of the Parliament projected the pale to ruddy leader to worship. Admiral Tang Yue leads the Star Alliance. The Blue Vein fleet expanded by 500 ships, unlimited resources. The E47 new capital template is promoted to 100 stars. Lu Ting's black account assets are completely transferred, and the heroes of the universe will forever be engraved in history. Mu Xue's new hook shines with Tang Yue's bloody smile. The iron-blooded sisters are reunited. The battle between gods will be remembered forever, and the quantum cannon will be conquered by you. Serve the galaxy. Lin Fan smiled broadly and wiped the blood from his wounds. Admiral, I lead the vanguard, and the new legion from the border will be escorted. Su Wan waved her fist, her image was rosy. The truth will be passed on forever. The Dark Network Devil will follow the Admiral, and the Black Chamber of Ashes Council will be reborn. The team reunited in the cabin of the Blue Vein. Nanomedical bees buzzed to seal wounds. The sweet breath of new oxygen crystals washed away the blood and sweat of victory. The space outside the window of the silver armor pulsating reflection cabin was lonely. The veins of the E47 oasis were winding like the heart of the new empire. Tang Yue stood at the head of the silver-armored station, overlooking the Blue Party allies in the Star Territory, who were arrayed in worship. The arc of the fingertips danced with the prototype of the injector. The fire in his eyes turned warm and deep, and his psychological balance grew forever. From the catastrophe of formula error to reversing the planet's doom, killing Lu Ting's ambition 3 times, leading the golden age of the Federation, the team's iron-blooded immortality, and the endless galaxy. The engineer held his head in tears and punched the ground with a dong-dong, his voice trembling in admiration. Admiral, I will build the 47 capital. I will build the E47 capital by myself. Transforming hundreds of stars to drink soup will feel so good. Mu Xue hooked Tang Yue's waist with one arm. Sisters will always chase. The Star Alliance is invincible. Lin Fan stood upright injured. Under your leadership, the fleet conquers deep space. Su Wan's projection merged. Truth escort. Gold will last forever. However, the full-frequency pulse of the alien's remaining red-eye projection suddenly sounded. The fragmented AI of the Lu Ting Alliance has awakened and counterattacked the E47 base. The fourth black wave of mechanical bugs buzzed into the core of the Earth. The rift valley on the surface of the oasis made a muffled galoo sound, black clouds and sulfur reappeared. The loneliness and chill of space exploded, and the cosmic storm reignited. In the loneliness of space, the Blue Vein's engine hummed and set sail. The oasis veins reflected behind it. The stars of the Star Alliance ships were followed by golden laser arrays. The orbit of the home star was always blue. The pulse of the golden age of mankind was launched. The formula for planetary transformation was infinitely popular. The team laughed and cried. The new oxygen breath was pure and infiltrated. The starry sky of the universe unfolded endlessly. The legend of heroes was passed down forever.